chat on Instagram. Follow the mods. Follow the people on the stage real quick before we get started. We already have a special guest brought to us by Mogul. I mean, he on the stage. Everybody follow him too. Bring all of the PTRs up first. PTRs up first. You already know what it is. Big C, what's up?
Yo, yo.
I see you in the chat doing that weird shit too. I see you. Mogul, what up?
Yeah, what's up, man? Just trying to bring OG in the room, man. He want to talk about some things, and he's down now. I'm trying to ping him in. Trying to bring him up.
Oh, all right. Yeah. All you gotta do is somebody bring him up.
Melvin.
Salute,
He already up.
Mogul.
He already up.
Okay.
No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Somebody ping
No,
him
he's
in,
still
Melvin.
down there. He down there.
He down in the goozy.
Yeah. How would he?
Hello?
There you go.
Hey
OG,
now.
OG. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
We
Top of the
doing.
evening. What's smooth?
Yeah,
This
what's
is my
going on, Mel?
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, nice to meet
What's
you.
up,
Somebody got
Reggie?
echo. Who got the echo?
OG.
Is it echoing?
No. You sound good. Yeah, you sound good. We good. We live. All right, how you doing today, Melvin?
Oh, I'm doing all
Yeah,
right.
salute to you, my guy. Um,
Yes.
the guy Mogul brought you through. He been told me to get you on here, so we've been trying to line it up for real. Loving, my bad, I shot you down like that. But yeah, we we've been waiting for you to come through. Everybody familiar with you. I'm sure they seen one of your interviews or two. I think I watched maybe like two or three of them, to be honest. But we glad to have you on the stage. Anything you wanted to start with and introduce yourself to the crowd?
Oh, no, you can start with whatever you want to start with every topic. Social media, don't matter. I got a long history in this game. My
Right.
name is Melvin Farmer.
Uh
Uh, I'm a civil rights activist, author, former inmate, mentor, on several things, and I changed my life around, and I just try to give back to the people. So that's all it is. I'm just a little old kid from LA.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know they had you down as an activist, my guy. I didn't see that.
Well, y'all don't know me. I've been in
Right.
this game 25 years, from uh, some of the cases from back then. I'm the first three strike to ever get out. I'm an author. I wrote the book, The New Slave Ship, Three Strikes You In. I've done numerous civil rights cases that have gotten people money for whether they were killed by friend, family, foe, or even those that served to protect us. You can check these names out. Margaret Laverne Mitchell, a homeless lady that was killed on La Brea. I got her millions. Chief Park's granddaughter killed at the chicken stand. I brought awareness. The Harlem Globetrotters, original black owners slain by a befriended friend, Amadou Diallo in New York, Prince Jones in Washington, D.C. with Ben Crump, who you see now, Death Row 10 in Chicago. I had a show called the Mo Better Man Blues Show in Washington, D.C., young man, back in 2000. I've been around since telephones are telling niggas I don't need social media.
All right. Now you done gave me a rundown. All right, that's a hell of a rundown, real quick. So you really been putting it in on the streets for real before all the social media for real, because I'm familiar with a
Yeah,
lot of those
man, Google
cases.
me. Google
Yeah.
me.
I mean,
Yeah,
when they Google you, it's flooded with it's a lot of the new stuff you've been doing. So they gonna have
yeah,
to scroll
that's
back.
new, but go to the audio video print. I got a 20 million view over in England. I
Uh
don't
huh.
been to every continent, been by psychologists. I've been around for many a years doing civil rights all across America and mentoring kids and never say nothing. I don't like being in the limelight. I'm not trying to shine. I just do what I do. Because when you don't have 2 life sentences where man gave them to you, what the hell would I need about what any man say? Any man. Y'all trips on emotions. I don't. I don't have no reactions. I don't look at social media because I don't give a damn. I weigh money. I don't count no money. Y'all go for sound bites and likes. I'm right now doing movie rights with Eddie Levert. I can go on TV, been on Nightline and everything else. Google
Oh,
me in the LA Times or
yeah,
anything else.
sure. That's heavy. I hear you. That's heavy right there. I hear you.
OG,
Yes, sir.
can you tell me when you first started the gang? I mean, started getting involved with gang activity.
I was around as a juvenile delinquent starting in about the at that time they had the 7A or the BA, and the next year they changed it how the system is now, straight 8th grade. I started being a juvenile delinquent, going to juvenile hall in about the 8th grade, 69, 70. Then the West Side started forming when I met Tookie's sister. That's who I met first, which is Bridget, and I started ganging when the West Side started. And a lot of people are starting to realize that I only was 14 at that time. Me, Michael Conception, O'Neal Brown, Barefoot Pookie, Blue Boy, the original West Sides all over in there. So I started gang banging, actually banging, at about 14. The first murder happened at 14 that put the Crips on the map. That's the Baloo murder.
So,
1972, April.
all right, can you tell me what was it really started up on? Was it really started up on killing or color? What was the gang culture started on? What was it about originally?
Well, they got to remember, they've always had gangs on the west side, on the east side. The Slawsons, the Gladiators, Manchester Park Boys, Figueroa Boys. But when I moved to the west side, that's the other side of the 110 freeway, and moved on over, it was integrated over there. You could see Tookie at one end of the park and Whites at the other end playing cricket. They didn't have no gangs. They didn't have older people over there, black, to have no legacy. So they had cliques, mostly from junior highs. 18, 19-year-old might be the most. So on our side of town, I have a video to where how Raymond and Tookie end up kind of meeting where they had got into a fight, but Tookie wasn't there. Tookie was in fact the Brookings in 71, 72. And after Raymond then was at a record hop, they got into it with the same guys that had killed Robert Ballou at the Palladium in 1972. That was the first time the Crips actually had been put into the newspaper. That's what propelled them in the city as far as a gang to be reckoned with. So at the end of the day, I just know that on the west side, we after that leather coat incident, the killing started. The next murder happened was a dude named Douglas Green. The first time I ever heard a woman howl on the tape. And that happened in June of 1972. That's the brother of the mayor of Inglewood, Butts. And so from then on, it's been a gang of violence, murders up to this day. And that's how it started as
What I
far as.
wanted, what I
Mhm.
want to know is what made y'all say I'm blue and I'm red? I mean, what the color come in at?
Colors wasn't in. Colors didn't come in till about 74, 75. We was wearing cross earrings and things when that first started, when the Crips started out. And we the only ones. That was the form of identification. I've written an article where the FBI picked it up called The Prevalence of Color, as far as how it went from cross earrings. Now, when blue came out, Tookie, like Buddha used to always carry a blue rag. We always carried a blue rag. We'll be sniffing blue and want to tie a bag up. So that's true. But when the red started being similar and associated with bloods, this was just my personal opinion, is that it's little simple things that happened when we were young that end up being like, oh, they thought about it. but they came out with cut off Levi's. They came off with cut off Levi's overalls when they used to be made where you had to hold the strap over. Like when you see Tookie and them, you always see the strap. And then they started with the cutoff, but they also came with red lining down the side, stitching. And so they started putting a red rag in to match the Levi's. And that started kind of like dividing it up to where it went to red and blue. Little simple shit. That's my opinion. Because we wore red and every other color at the beginning. There was no colors when we started.
Okay.
Damn, that's wild right there.
How old was you when you first went to juvenile hall, bro?
14.
How long you sit up in there?
Yo,
Oh, at that time they believed in rehabilitation over punishment. All the guys that were 14 to 18 between 1971 to 1975, they're going to have three things on their jackets. Either 25 or 30 arrests, or they're going to have a murder conviction. And if they still alive today, they don't serve over 30 some years in prison. Most of my friends got two of the three. That's why I don't like talking about me. It's not gonna be nice. It ain't gonna be this shit you see here. We didn't have cards. We didn't know what we was doing. It was the worst, one of the worst mistakes I made in my life. So I try to save other people's life from going down that path because very few successes come about this game.
Got a question for you, big homie. Hey,
yeah,
do,
hold on,
do
bro.
go
Yeah, crazy.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
What happened?
Yeah, nah, I got a phone call. Took me out the room. Nah, I had some questions I wanted to ask, but I'll let the room go ahead and finish their questions real quick. Y'all go ahead and ask. Y'all good.
so did you have any blood niggas that was blood homies that end up on the other side of the fence that it put a division between y'all? Just was curious.
What do you mean? Say that. Say that again.
Like when y'all was first dividing off, was it any of your homies that turned like to the red and the
No,
other
no,
homies
never.
were
No,
blue? Or
no, 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 no,
no,
no.
I'm talking about. I'm asking. Was it in the
No.
divide? Did you have any homies that was on the red side?
Oh, that grew up and then everyone we all knew each other. Yeah, all the Van Ness boys, every T. Rogers, Donald Ray, Treetop, uh, 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 Punkin that's dead, Butchie, Gerald McMillan, Swig, Connie, Big Country, Little Country that got killed. Every blood Crip on the west side we knew each other because we had all went to elementary or junior high pretty much. So when the Crips and Bloods first started on our side, everybody knew each other. But I was more getting into it with the Van Ness boys, the Chain Gang, which is Jan Brewer, Wesley Logan, Lil Caesar, and all them. Sasquatch, all these boys end up being UBNs and BGFs later on up in the pen system. So yeah, I knew them all. I knew them all, and a lot of times that would cause each other to give each other slack, and that's the difference now. We knew each other, mothers and parents, and from back then to now. So I know a lot of them grandkids all the way down, and that's the difference in being in this game 50 years. It's very hard for me not to know somebody's family member in this city if they are a victim of senseless gun violence, from red or blue. It doesn't matter. Mm-mm. Yeah, so when the blood started, we knew each other, T. Rogers and all of them that was into that game. Yeah, we knew each other.
Okay. Well, when you first got out of prison, what year that was, OG?
What time? I did over 30 years in prison.
Okay, your first stint, your first jail bid.
My first prison bid, my first prison bid was back then I was robbing. I got back then they give you 3 years, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6. I did a couple of years. Back then they didn't have the laws. When we started off as juveniles, if you caught a murder between 71 and 75, the most you're gonna get is 3 years. Get caught with a gun, they give it back. Carjacking what's called GTA, they cite you out. I was arrested over 40 some times before I was 18 because they didn't have the laws that they predicate. Y'all get punished for something we got released for. So 2 years, I was going in increments. I never been arrested for a violent crime against any human being, but I've been arrested 40, 50 times for robbery. I've always went and got money. I never worked a day in my life to this day. So then I end up doing for a bank robbery. I got 10 years, did about 6. So I always got a chance to come home. Then I got a life sentence up under the California 3 strikes law. Uh, I got a reversal. Then I just come off a death penalty case in Georgia for 3 counts of attempted murder on the police, and I'm on parole now for. So I'm still lingering around in the criminal justice system. I got 10 years parole left on 20. So I'm very restricted in what my movements are and conditions. So it ain't ended yet.
All right. What made you think? I mean, what made the system change the laws, make them so harsh in your opinion?
Well, they started picking up on what was doing, and they started turning the prison system into profit and using it for free slave labor.
OG.
To help perpetuate this new industry called prison. And they started to create a bigger net to lock through the revolving. It's all about the money now. You have private investors that invest in banks. They're making cheap labor, like for instance, the Olympic Village that was born and made for the U.S. Olympics in L.A. in '84 or something. I was in Soledad. We made the tables, the beds, and we wasn't getting up but 25 cents an hour, whereas somewhere out on the street where they did it. So it's a new form of modernized slavery. It's the new slave ship. It just doesn't sail. It's on land now.
So I was wondering, what made you write the book?
Uh, well, I was on a level 4 yard at Lancaster where everybody never see the sun come up or they never see the sun go down. The moon is your flashlight, and everybody got a life sentence, like a can of sardines of being on the
Damn,
slave.
that's tough.
Everybody at a level 4 have life sentences. That's high as you can go in California. So everybody knew I had a chance of getting a reversal. And when I got it, every man told me, don't forget about it. And I ain't. I'm going to get it. That's what made me write the book, which I wrote in 6 hours off the top of my head. And that's how that book was done. In fact, when Charleston White holler out, Melvin don't.
What happened to you? I think he went out.
Oh, I
I
thought you
just
murdered
listened
him or
to
something
the
when he
good
said.
part.
Yeah, I thought you murdered him when he said that name or something. Like, whoa, what happened? Damn, I'm trying to get him back in.
Hell no, I ain't meet him. He was talking that top.
Let me see what's going on with him.
He probably got a phone call or something. I ain't need that, man. Yeah, so if you in here, scroll up to the top, hit the greenhouse. Shirley Birds and All Nighters is EBAN Films. We live on YouTube right now. You can follow your moderators. We got Reggie right in the house too. He chilling. We got Mobile. He done brought us a guest. We got Melvin Farmer, OG Crip. You know what I mean, one of the OGs from the West Coast. He in here telling us pieces of his story for real. Letting the people ask questions. If you down in the goo, we gonna let you up to ask questions once the original mods get any questions, and we gonna let y'all up. But if you down in the bottom of the goo, chill down there for a second. We gonna let everybody up. Wave your hand in a little bit. We gonna let y'all up to ask questions, and everybody gonna get a chance to speak. So we waiting for Melvin to pull back up. But anybody in the room want to speak while we wait on Melvin?
I'll just say, what up, Post? How you doing today? This is Reggie Wright. I was just saying, what's up? Just to fill in some air until Melvin come back. He a little old like me, so we have a hard time using these phones. So he wouldn't hung up on you because he
Oh
take
yeah,
this stuff
yeah, yeah.
serious. So I
Yeah,
know he
nah, I
didn't
know
hang
how it
up.
is.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
up with you though? What's up with you,
Oh,
Reg? I seen
I'm
that's your
good, man.
YouTube channel, Bomb First. That's your YouTube.
Yeah. I'll be doing over there on Bomb First with my boy John Highland. We be doing stuff over there, and doing little. Our streams be a little long. It's pretty
No, no,
much
no.
like
I
one.
like y'all channel. I like y'all
Uh,
channel.
respect, Post. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of. I think.
Can you
I
hear
think.
me?
Go ahead. Is he back?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. Yeah.
Okay, we back. This
Okay.
phone messing up. We getting it in though. I'm
I
here.
was just explaining this Reggie Melvin. I was just telling him
Hey,
that
what up, Reg?
how you doing, brother? Yeah, we
Hey,
just
what's
sitting
up,
back
bro?
sucking up
What's
all this
up, big
game.
bro?
I let
Huh?
you go
Muds.
back.
Whoever
I,
is the mud, stop bringing people up. I don't know
yep.
whoever that is.
I'll Melvin. I'll let you go back and I'll sit back and soak up this game because I'm just sitting back listening. Yep.
Oh yeah, we'll chop it up afterwards, like
Okay,
we
baby.
always do. All right, baby.
Okay. All
One love. Hey, what's going on? Let's get it cracking, man.
You were saying something about Charleston White.
Oh yeah, man. I brought that boy in the game. Charleston White came to see me to meet me. I got all kind of videos. I just don't put them out. I wait till I open my shit. And Charleston White be lying, man. Charleston White lies about so much shit. A fabricator, and I know him very well. I put him in the game. I got pictures where he cropped himself on my pictures to be on with me. He came from Texas up to St. Andrews Park because he had got run out by the Bloods, and the Crips was getting into it down there about him or something. I don't know. And anyway, he come up to me and say, "Man, you the only one I see on TV that don't brag about that gangbanging." He say, "I want to manage you." I got the video. See, this is fact checks. And all anybody got to do is just tell him to step to the mic cordially, and I kill him at the mic. You ain't gonna beat me talking about none of this shit on the street, so your resume ain't gonna mess up with mine. Your nuts don't hang no. So anyway, that's how I end up going to Nipsey Hussle, meeting everybody. I saved his life when the Denver Lanes was for the killing. And if you notice, it's a pattern with him. He'll talk about characters and characteristics. Look at his characteristics. Everybody that helped him, he goes shit on him. And then he run and hide behind the bike. And I consider the social media now like the bingo long hard stars on the Chitlin circuit. I got bigger shit to do. My mission bigger than trying to be a social media hero or superstar. I just do the work when the camera's not around. My boots to the ground. So with Charleston White, there's a lot of things I could answer. But anytime I like to see him there where we in person, cause see when y'all talk to him, he over talk y'all and just yap, and y'all don't say nothing. That's why he ran out the room at the thing. We didn't come there. I wasn't even gonna go on that show. That was gonna be how I told him and Marvin. I set that up. We waited 6 months because I kept saying, "Stay out of it, Marvin." But Marvin wanted to go and talk to him. He had wrote his notes, and I had told Boss Talk. I just opened it up, set the ground rules with no language, no threatening and y'all just discussing whatever you work it out. But then they told me we want you in it. That's how I got to the table. I don't even like doing interviews. Period. Don't care if I do none. Not one bit. So that's how that went. Now let's talk about when he talked about I was homeless. I ain't never been homeless. What happened was my son did that dumb shit after I told him, young man, I see you robbing on Facebook, but I know what drug you using. I say one or the other, you're gonna get over 500 years doing what you're doing one way or the other. And with that drug you using, you're gonna wake up one morning and gonna be in jail and ain't gonna know what you did, and your ass gonna be through. And don't call me. And he didn't listen. But by him leaving up for me, and right where I'm sitting at now, they ran in here 8 deep. Because when they were investigating his ass, they had me under surveillance and was checking with the neighbors and the managers, and they found out I wasn't on the lease. And they say, you see that backpack right there? Put whatever the fuck you put in there, and we're going to trail your car. And if you bring your ass back within 3 years, we're going to kill you or arrest you. And I just made it back 3 years later from the mud and didn't cry not one day. And look where I stay. I ain't never seen a homeless man commit suicide yet. Only niggas with money. They always got the problem. I got the will to survive. That's my environment, the mud. I come from the mud, the streets. Been running this shit my whole life. PhD, player's hustler degree. I got it right here. So that's how that went down. So when he met me, that's when that happened. And I don't even know what the hell he said because I don't look at nobody's shit. But I just tell you that ain't me.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mowgli. You got some more questions?
And well, what would you tell a youth about gang banging?
Is everybody there?
Yeah, we here.
All right,
Well,
I'm back because I'm cutting in and out for some reason. It'll go, then it'll go, and I have to go and dibble dabble. But yeah, that's what happened on that, man.
Hey,
So,
hey, Melvin. Before Mogo give you that question, while you talking about Charleston, go just tell them about how you got him in at the funeral and everything for Nipsey Hussle funeral.
when we was at Nipsey, I'd say, well, in fact, it started the night Nipsey got killed. Barefoot Pookie. I was getting calls from people, and if you look on my Facebook, I was acting like I didn't know what happened, but I got a call, and people were saying, Melvin, they saying your name in this, they saying y'all side. So Charleston was there when Barefoot Pookie Babalu, and we talking, sitting, listening to the ambulance, and he taking pictures on my other page, whatever. So when it get ready to come where we finna go over with Nipsey Hussle. This was after the LA Gangs Unite, the Snoop Dogg videos and all that. Uh, I said, you want to hit the corner and go to the thing, man, and enjoy this? He said, yeah. So I took him with me, introduced him to the Rolling 60s. Now I'm from the eight trades, and we're simplified by saying the Hatfields and the motherfucking McCoys. I'm one of the very few that can still go over there because I was getting money with the McCoys before the Hatfields and the McCoys started fighting. So I know both sides equally. I gang bang with my side, I get money with the other one when I was growing up. My side was strictly gang bangers. They side was money getters too. So it's me, Barefoot Pookie, Cappuccino, Raymond Washington daughter, Pete Winbush, Angela Winbush cousin, and a couple more. And we get up there with Steve LaBelle, that in help with Don Skorowski bring Nipsey Hussle in the game with Big U and them. And we all at the VIP in the back see Big Boy, Snoop and all them.
Early birds and all-nighters.
We go in where we knew somebody at the door through the VIP, and they let us in. And Charleston ended up breaking off with Rashina Washington. And if you look at the funeral, I'm standing up there talking to Black Sam up front, and then I'm standing next to Game, and then I go in the back with Farrakhan because of Cap and them, they security. So that's how Charleston got in, and the pictures you see where he's standing around, he got in there through me. In fact, everything he met and went through in LA was through the blessings of me. Where, you know, if you with Melvin, he all right. So they all embraced him, man. And then what happened, he changed the game. I got video as up to date as February where I did a show in Dallas where I let him host it. Then had another show for him to be on the host with Christopher Darden, the O.J. Simpson prosecutor. So I always put him in the game. I always was on television. But I brought him in because I looked at him. He got a little talent. I say, in fact, we joked about it. I said, you'll manage me, but I think I'm going to manage you too. And that's how that started. We've done plenty of shows together, plenty of shows. And I know what he's doing now because he told me in February, I'm going to go against the grain and just start talking about people to get them to notice me. So I already know it's guy. He lied about being. I got a video where you'll see me praising him, talking about I'm down here for Southwest Gangster Chronicle, where he don't told me he don't talk to Mob Game, Charlemagne the God, Norm Steele, and I'm gonna start that because I say, well, why don't you do Hidden Corners? He say, nah, I can't do it, Melvin. They could have given me a job, and that's the motive for him trying to talk this shit about Mob James, just like he talked about Boss Talk. Boss Talk gave him the opportunity, and look what he talked about his wife. He's full of shit, but he hide behind the mic. And I don't have nothing personal against him. None. I don't hate no man. That shit minute to me. So I don't even waste my time.
Any
Hello?
more questions? Any more questions?
Yeah, I got a question for you, brother. At what
Yeah.
point in your life did you decide to become an activist? What made you get into the activist part?
1998. When you know, when you go to jail and you got a life sentence, it ain't but one thing you're saying. Oh God, give me one more chance. That's all you're gonna say. Cause man don't sentence you to death, to die in a stand up, walk in casket. And once again, I knew how blessed I was and God had a calling for me. In fact, I'm fit to go to school to be a preacher as we speak, young man. As we speak. So it's been a complete turnaround for me. And when I left them men, that's the worst, that's the closest I ever felt to being a slave. I didn't even know what a slave might feel like. But after I left that, after man took my life for $2 worth of dope and gave me 25 years to life plus a consecutive life sentence, where I wasn't even threatening life. But I took it like maybe the things I've done in life and got away where I didn't pay taxes, maybe this is how I got to pay my taxes. That's how this game goes. I didn't cry. I didn't fiddle because I don't got away with a lot of things. And that's what inspired me to help people. And I have a knack for being around events that I feel doesn't get the recognition or the attention. And those are the cases that I started bringing awareness to. And that's been now 23 years now and running. So that inspired me. From being turning my life around was that life sentence up under the California three strikes law.
Speaking on the three strikes law, I understand you got caught up in it. At that time, did you ever imagine the damage that it was gonna do to our community back then?
Yeah, if you read my book, it's relevant today. I predicted mass incarceration, and this law created too big of a net. First of all, talking about the California three strikes law, it's retroactive. There's never been a law that adversely affects you that go backwards. Let me give you a good example, young man. When Charles Manson was on death row, they amended and abolished the death penalty because they said it was cruel and unusual punishment somewhere around 1973 or something. Then they reinstated around 77, 76 somewhere. And that's why Tookie got executed after it was reinstated. But they didn't go and put Charles Manson back on death row when they went and made it where it can be forward. But when they made it backwards, where it was retroactive, it helped it Charles Manson to get him off, where he ended up dying on the main line. So there's never been a law that goes backwards and punish you for crimes which you committed and then change them around. I only got arrested. Three Strikes Law come out March 7th, 1994. I got arrested around March 10th, where the police planted dope on me, less than 1/10 of a gram. And how did I get one arrest and the Three Strikes Law started March 7th and I get three strikes March 10th or 11th? That's because they used my prior convictions where I had plea bargain back in 74, 77, 79, 81, 86, 90, 92, 2000, and all that. And they used them where back then it only was 1 to 3 for a non-violent violation and a 5-year prior for a serious and violent felony. So I shouldn't have ended up with a $2 dope case where it shouldn't have been nothing but maybe with my priors, maybe 3 or 4 years. But the Three Strikes Law only affect you when you got a non-violent offense. It boosts it up because they already have habitual criminal statutes for 3-time offenders. So there's no need for this law. In fact, they got 2 Three Strikes Law. One that was signed as an emergency measure by the governor. Why don't y'all ask him what was the emergency where you signed a law overnight to lock everybody up and then you voted on it in November? So
Mm.
that law is the only one in the United States. It's one of the most draconian laws that ever been in America. It's the California Three Strikes Law, and it needs to be revisited.
Wow. So basically, what you saying is, so when they came up with this law, they made it the way as though. All right. So you said the law was created on March 7th. It was passed on March 10th.
No, it was signed overnight because Clinton was in a a big a political race, and what sparked it was the murder of Polly Claus. But that's what they used for the law as the poster child. But in fact, it was Mike Reynolds' daughter, Kimberly Reynolds, in Fresno, that had been lobbying for the Three Strike Law since his daughter's death. And when they seen the attention that it brought into tough on crime, that's when the era of prison incarceration started. You can read it in my book, The New Slave Ship. And also look at passages where Clinton, every time he apologized every election only, they go, the only time you hear him talking about prisoners when they say what they'll do, and then they give you all these promises and nothing come through. But you'll hear him say, I admit I created too big of a net. Look in the back of my book in 98, and I say this law creates too big of a net. It's like illegally fishing with a net in an ocean or a lake or something where you can't use it. This is illegal, it's unfair, and it's never been a law where a judge didn't have the right and the discretion to say, in the interests of justice. When you go to court for a three strike case, you can't beat it because you're on trial for your priors, not the offense. That's what gets you 25 years per prior, not the case. That's why you got Buck Rogers' date, 450 for my child, 500 for Dominoes from the 30s, Motor Mouse, 100. You get these Buck Rogers dates. Not only here, I faced the death penalty in Atlanta. They got a law called the 7 Deadly Sins that I'm up under. And that carried the death penalty.
Tell us more about that, Melvin. I never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's the equivalent. It's 7 deadly sins. It's a law in Georgia to where if you get it, you're going to get the death penalty or you ain't never coming home. And behind me catching 3 counts of attempted murder on the police from a simple credit card case of hustling it turned into where I was facing the death penalty. I ended up with 83 years out there. So in Georgia, it's zero tolerance. Don't nobody carry no butts or nothing in their ashtray. They don't let you get away with nothing in Georgia. Zero tolerance. In fact, Georgia has been uh, ranked as the number one most dangerous prison in the United States because when you're in the Georgia chain gang, you can't lock your cells. They can run in on you at any time. They know how to pick the locks. The police are half of them are GDs, UBNs, vice lords. It's one of the most corrupt prison systems I ever been in my life.
So Melvin, I'm saying right here that you had an article published in the Los Angeles Times. How was that?
Which one?
Oh, you had multiple. So I'm
I've
looking.
had articles in the LA Times since 1998, a gang of them.
So I'm looking at the 2016 one. So you
No, I got
basically.
them in 2001, 98. Google Margaret Laverne Mitchell,
Hmm.
the homeless lady in about 2000 or something, about 2000. Google her. I did
Hmm.
that case in the LA Times. Google Melvin Farmer goes to wayside after the Mexican mafia were killing the blacks in there, where I had predicted and told them Baca was setting them up, and did nobody listen. And now Baca's in federal prison. I'm way ahead of this curve. They just don't listen.
Mm, that's heavy right there. So around what time, what age did you get into, doing this type of work?
Well, I came out in 98, so I had to be, that's 20 something, about starting on to be about 40 years old. But I had quit gang banging at 17.
Oh, so what?
No, see, that's what people don't know because our era, we don't speak. They try to
Right,
speak on us and they ain't never know what the hell we did. No,
right.
I quit gang banging at 17.
So at that age, you had already found out that you had a different path.
Yeah, gang banging was just 1971, but I
Hmm.
always been getting money.
Oh, you was getting to
My
the
first,
money.
my first robbery,
Yeah.
I robbed the post office. Remember, I told you it was white people over there. It's like the
Oh,
post office in Mayberry RFD.
yeah.
So I walked up there, me, Sidewinder, Hunchy, we all over there, and we want to get some goat, whatever it is, moped.
Hmm.
They want to go steal them. I don't do no stealing. I'm a
Right,
taker. So I
right,
say, we needed blue chip stamps where you could go
right.
take blue chip stamps to the blue chip stamp store.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, I tell a man I'm going to get some blue chip stamps. So I go and rob the post office and take regular stamps.
Hmm.
I'm thinking I'm getting post. So I run back. I got the stamps, man, to go get the bike. And they were regular stamps. On my mama, I went back on foot and robbed her for some money. Then we went and bought the bike. And to this day, I don't know how I didn't go to jail. She probably took the rest of the money and didn't say shit. She had to because she didn't call the police. So
Mm,
yeah, at 17, I had quit robbing. At 1977, I went to jail for jewelry store robbery.
mm.
1979, I went to the store jail for teachers credit union.
Oh.
Then in 81, me and Tony Stacy, they were getting booked for their triple homicide
Yeah.
when they was coming in. Me, Tony Stacy, Ray, and the FBI was bringing us in for some more robberies. I was a jacker. I was a robber. We taking our money. A lot of
Okay.
money.
And where
Hmm.
you get that philosophy from? Like your neighborhood had that going on, or that was something y'all picked up yourselves?
No, no, I never been to jail with nobody from A Trade.
Right.
They wasn't money getters. They were
Uh-huh.
strictly killers and gang members. That's why I was getting money with the Hatfields and other people. My side, the A trades at the beginning, the few of us that it was, they were strictly gunners and nothing else. They wasn't into none of that taking no money. They'll go get a job at 18, like Raper Daddy, Sidewinder Daddy, got him, Baycott, ex-con, Hunchy, all of them had jobs at UCLA through Rayford's daddy. They was making $20 an hour damn near in 1973. I refused to work with them. I worked with Cody Brown daddy. Where we was doing some painting. And the first day we went there, he gave us the master key to this building downtown. But we didn't know no better. We dropped the paintbrush and took everybody's jewelry out of there and quit. He lost that contract. To us, it didn't matter. But in hindsight, you know, as you get older, you slow down. That's the number one deterrent when it comes to crime. As you get older, you get wiser. And I sit and I hold my head in shame because I looked at that black man. I knew Cody daddy, and we looked at it like, oh, that was something. But in hindsight, he was offering us a lot of opportunities I had. A lot of people didn't know I was the number one ranked basketball player in the city. I chose the court. I chose the corners over the court. I played with some of the best: Reggie Theus, uh, Ozzie Smith, Eddie Murphy, Bill Cartwright, Kim Scarborough, a whole lot of them that I played with that ended up going pro. I played all three sports all my life. Then I just made a choice. I did more banging and put more into that than I did into my career. In fact, my daddy cried when he found out I was gang banging and said, "You done fucked off the family fortune."
Damn. What do you mean? He had other plans for you?
No, he knew I was anybody that know me in LA would say Melvin. Everybody knew Melvin was on his way to the pros and out together. I'm the
What's
number one player in the city.
what
In
sport
fact,
that was?
huh?
What sport that was?
I played basketball. I played and made Crenshaw High to where Joe Weekly, because I
Oh,
used to have to get escorted to class
what
if they
number
could
you wore,
find
man?
me. Hmm?
What number you had?
I had number 10.
That's a tough
I
ass
always
jersey.
wore 10.
Yo got the Crenshaw High number 10. Y'all heard it.
Yeah,
Yo jersey number 10, Crenshaw
yeah.
High.
I was at Crenshaw and Joe Weekly, the assistant coach for Joe West, say, Melvin, all you know how to do is gang bang. And I say, no, man, I can play
Y'all heard it here
basketball.
first. If Fabulous
And
pop up with that throwback Melvin Farmer, he heard it here first.
I had
Straight up.
straight up,
I
man.
looked
And
out for
another
y'all.
time, I played for Hollywood High. I don't went and shot up a jail, and they don't kick me out, but they say you can play
Oh,
basketball.
what you say, Hollywood High?
Yeah, I played there too.
Oh shit. This nigga crazy. He played for Hollywood High. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's when they started busting us off 83rd. But what had happened, somebody had stole my biscuits while I was in camp, and I shot the camp up, and they kicked me out. And instead of going to jail, they say, ask Kevin Goff. Because what happened with Big Kevin Goff, I end up walking on at Hollywood. They say, well, go play. And I made the team and I kissed a Mexican girl. And the essays told me and Kevin Goff, niggas, mayates don't come in this cafeteria at lunch.
Mm,
And when we went in there and when we got through, we was on our way back to jail.
mm.
And
What
he on
made
my
you
Facebook page. You can ask him.
what made you
Mhm.
choose that life over the professional life? I mean, what made you choose the gang violence or the violence over your career?
Well, I was young in basketball and baseball. Baseball was the sport. Football and basketball, you can see on ABC where you might not see 10 people in the audience. It wasn't like it was now. Uh, but that, I just chose the streets because of the camaraderie, and I didn't know no better. I didn't listen to my mama. I just chose the streets because of the camaraderie. Uh, and a lot of times, I didn't want to be at home. You might have like at 15, my daddy was beating my mom, and I heard Fritz flying. And I had stole a gun out my daddy's brother truck when I heard him talking the way he said he had left a gun in his truck. He was a truck driver. So I stole the gun. And I had it, and I heard my mama hollering and screaming. And then I hear fist slapping, and my mama was a model. And I waited in that hallway, and I called him, and I walked him right in a little space. And I put that gun right up on his heart. And I told him if I ever Hear my mama cry like that again. I'ma use this. And that
Yeah.
from there, I went on and started going to jail because we didn't get punished. We were getting a revolving door. Now, maybe it'd have been a tougher sentence or a little bit more punishment. It might have deterred me, but we knew that we'll go to jail and get back out. So it really laid in the also within the juvenile justice system because they still had at that time believed in rehabilitation. Then when they seen, they created a word for us called incorrigibles. And then they had a big Supreme Court hearing in 1975 behind the behavior of the youth between 1971 and 75, where they had to make a choice between public safety or rehabilitation because of the brown and black youth in the inner cities. That's exactly what the Supreme Court, read
So,
it, Google it.
so, so
I'm
y'all
a
basically, y'all the one created those harsh laws. Be honest. I
That's
mean, just
why the law, that's why they have the uh uh juvenile fitness hearing. Google it. It's on there. Everything I say you can Google. See, I don't talk about maybes and hoping those. I'm talking where you can Google it in its law. And I'm reading from exactly what it say. Google it. It come out in 1975. And well, in fact, Jimmy McDaniels is one of the first, the Hoover assassin, to get it. I got friends that are now just now starting to get out from back then. But yeah, that's what they used it for. The juvenile fitness hearing was created from the juvenile acts that were committed, as it says on the paper, brown and black youths in Los Angeles,
well,
California.
do you feel guilty or any kind of way of creating? I mean, helping create. Not saying you did personally, but helping create those people to change those laws to make them harsh.
Well, we were young. We didn't know all that. What happened was as these 30, 40 generations continued to do it, they made it where they knew that they can punish their asses. We had it easy. We knew when to back up. Now, nowadays, they look at it like it's normal to go to jail and get 10 years for having a tattoo. I got the same tattoo they get 10 years for where I don't have on my arm since I was 15. And thinking about that, when they give you these
Whoa,
gang
whoa, whoa, whoa,
enhancements,
whoa! What you say they give you time for getting a tattoo?
yeah,
Yeah.
in the state of, oh, that's right, y'all in Atlanta. In the
No,
state
no,
of
no, no, no,
California,
no, no. We got people in different states. Mostly everybody here from Baltimore.
okay, what
Oh, nah,
happens
nah,
in
nah, nah. You
California,
got people from
what
everywhere. It's
happens
only
in
like two of us from
California
Baltimore, bro. Three.
Oh
What
my.
happens? What happens in California? If you're a gang member and have a tattoo, and they can prove you're a gang member, that's a 10-year enhancement because of just having a tattoo. Yeah, that'll get you time in California. That gets you 10 years extra.
Same in New York too.
Yeah, yeah. That all that'll get you uh uh time. Like I say, they created the carjacking. We did the same
It's
thing.
8
That was a
o'clock.
lot of my robberies was taking cars, but they would give us a GTA. You get caught with a gun, I almost guarantee you they'll give it back to you because at that time they had never had youth that were doing the type of acts on a consistent basis where they had seen it. They didn't catch up on to it till 1975 that it ain't Tookie and the older guys, it's the younger kids that are doing it. I had a friend that killed uh, this young lady who's a track star brother. He went and told his mama, I think I killed somebody. He only was 14 and in the ninth grade when he did it. I was in probably the ninth or 10th. And he went and told his mother, hey, I think I killed somebody. I did it. She turned him in to juvenile hall and they still couldn't know what to do with him. Where finally they dismissed the case and he got killed the same day he got out. They were waiting on him. But that just goes to show you how they hadn't even had no type of cases of guys coming in at 15, 14, 13 doing the type of acts they were committing between 1971 and 75.
Uh,
It was a
uh,
whole new type of game.
okay. I see. Can you tell me the difference between gang violence back then or gang banging today?
Well, when I got in, it wasn't but two ways to get in. Your face was your ID and your pistol was your passport. So that's how we came in. Nowadays, you can have money and be a gang member. You could be a sympathizer and be a gang member. You can be a rapper and be a gang member. You can be an entertainer. Everybody wants this culture to where they're gang members, and most of them have more graduation pictures than mugshots, but they gang banging. I don't see how when you active, you stay out no 5, 10 years. So over the course of the years, it has become fashionable, acceptable, and it's the thing to do. You know, they ask where you from before they say hello. And another big difference in my era and their era, all the Crips were united. All these are divided. So our language will never be the same.
So let me ask you this, because from my knowledge, gangs started as a way to protect ourselves, to protect ourselves from the oppressor. And I want your opinion. In your opinion, when did things start taking a left turn? Like when did things start taking it that you noticed things start taking a turn for the worse?
1971. Before that, you had civil rights. I seen that uh, the tankers coming, the fire, the burning, the looting, the killing. I seen that through the eyes in 1965, 64, 63, through the eyes of a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old kid. I didn't know what they were fighting for. No more different than when we got in this shit. We didn't know what we was doing for this. But I tell you, it wasn't where we was talking about passing out no damn lunches. In fact, nothing like that was ever discussed. Nobody was never asked, you want to be a Crip. We just was a group of guys that surely graduated and gradually started whining and getting together and standing up on our own. In fact, the West Side Crips, none of us have ever been killed by no gang. We didn't suffer no losses. I never wrote RP on none of my friends.
Now
This is
that's
from
gangster.
71 to 72. So I can't say you'll hear him say, oh, it was community revolution in progress and this. You'll hear different interpretations. But from my personal point of view, we didn't have no idea about protecting no. We did protect when you came over there, but also a lot of guys were pillaging and off the community as well, bullying them. It's a lot of bullying going on, a lot of jockeying and stuff like that internally. So as far as me and my personal opinion, I was just rolling with the flow, man. I only was 14 years old.
So gangbanging was running hand in hand with the civil rights movement.
It came after that. That's when the breakage started, and there was a gap. There was no leadership, and people say, "Oh, the police infiltrated, the FBI, the Alphabet invaded the Crips." No, they invaded the Black Panthers, the Us organizations, and all them guys. So you would think, "Oh, this is a spinoff to them." No, it wasn't no spinoff. Them dudes had a different philosophy, a different politics. That's why as we got older and started going to the prison, the game changed to where we went from predator to prey. Cause now everybody where we was juveniles and getting away with shit and they hearing about it and they pro black. Now they got us coming in, they was waiting on us. And that was a hell of a battle for 20 or 30 years. That's when we had to start to where we had stopped at 17 on the streets, but that didn't stop me from fighting in that penitentiary because now you fighting the Mexican mafia, the Aryan Brotherhoods, the BGFs, the Bloods, the UBNs, the police, George Jackson, Geronimo Platt. These are the guys that was just a tear down a year or two, so they still had that attitude. And now we coming in there as young blacks talking about we getting in trouble with blacks. That's a big problem. Lot of hand-to-hand killing went on, but a lot of people wouldn't know that. what it took to get the Crips to be able to stand tall in that prison system. Because most people don't know the difference between a prison gang and a street gang. One has structure and the other one don't. And here go a fact check on Charleston White. He said that out his mouth, but he took that from my soundbite. See, he plagiarizes a lot of shit that I got on my other page. I've been wrote and talked about. He'll never. In fact, while we talking about him, why don't y'all ask Charleston White why he don't say the name of that school since he works so much with it? Because his ass will be in trouble. So back to where we was talking about. That's my opinion about that thing about did we protect it. You'll hear a lot of different versions. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me. I feel shamed about what I did. I look in my mother's eyes where she was pretty at 25, now she 80. And the time that I did investing in these streets, thinking I only was hurting myself, I see the damage that I've done to my mother. And so I don't let nobody get in the way the way I want to make my mother proud and make her happy, because I'm not very happy when my mama not happy. When she cry, I cry. And that's a problem.
That's a fact.
That's a big
So,
problem.
so Melvin, let me switch the speed up. Let me ask you a question. You was when the drugs switched over in the 80s, you was incarcerated, right?
Nope, I never. I was there when it started, where it always had started. But I was there where I was around when it was happening. Don't forget, I was only getting 2 or 3 years. Then I'm back out and
Mm.
like that. So I know exactly what it was. Yeah. What's the question, young man?
So look, around it in the 80s, how did the cocaine evolve into the crack?
Well, they started off ether basing.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, in 74, 75, when they had the movie Staying Alive, the Bee Gees, that's when drugs were fashionable, $100 a gram. And in fact, my buddy was one of the first inner city drug dealers because he married Tootie Reed's daughter. That's Michael
Whoa.
Jordan.
Oh,
Tootie
what you
Reed.
mean? He was one of the first inner city? What you mean? First inner city drug dealers?
Youth, because there wasn't a lot of on the west side, don't forget, we were integrating. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't no youth at 17, 16, 15 gonna be able to buy no cocaine at
Right.
$55,000 a
So
kilo.
you mean they wasn't even really allowed? Like it was like taboo for a young nigga to be
It
off the
wasn't
porch.
nobody selling that. They were on Red Devils, pills,
What the
Sniffy
hell is a red
Blue,
devil,
and
man?
weed.
What's a
Huh?
red devil? What's a red devil,
Uh,
man?
that's the pills. They used to take pills. They
Yeah.
cost $1. They call
Damn.
them Red Devils. Red Devils. They'll drink silver satin.
Damn.
They'll sniff glue. They'll smoke weed. They didn't have all these drugs.
Right.
They had them, but they wasn't prevalent.
Right.
Then in 77, the Mexicans and the foreign countries start letting the blacks get money in the inner city. My buddy
Ooh.
married Tootie Reed's daughter, which was Rhonda Reese. That's how Felix Mitchell got hooked up in Mickey Moe and the 6ix9ine Mob through Michael Jordan.
Oh
And
shit, you talking real
Suge,
connect shit.
yeah, this when the keys was 55,000. And
Damn.
then it went from Ether Basin. In 77, it started hitting the streets where they'd used the rum. They wasn't
55,000.
using cigarette lighters and torches. You would have a little metal stick, put a
Mm-hmm.
cotton swab on it, dip it in rum, and you'll light that and scrape it off the plate. That's the
Oh.
purest form of cocaine.
Now
And
that's
then,
Allegedly.
now that's
hmm,
like that's not like that's base, right? That's gooey right
yeah,
there, right?
that's freebasing.
Oh, so that's 100% pure.
That's how it was.
So
Then
them
they started cutting the dope up and stretching it with B12, and people started having heart attacks. In fact, one of the first persons to blow dope up on the west side was Dexter Johnson.
oh
At
shit.
that time, you had Bruce, you had Dexter Johnson, you had a lot of them, Terry Carter, Fat Pat, Flint, Harry O, Waterhead Bo,
Mm.
all these dudes I knew they were the drug dealers. Freeway Rick. Then Michael Conception started pimping and selling over there when they opened up the whole stroll on Figueroa.
Yeah.
So I knew all these guys that were selling dope,
Now
but
who?
I wasn't a dope dealer. That
Hmm.
money was too slow for me. I'd rather rob the person bringing the money and the dope
Oh,
dealer and get it all in one shot.
Melvin, you was
So
one of
I
them
do it.
guys, Mel. Oh man. But
Yeah,
Mel, let me
that's
ask
how
you
I
this.
got out.
Let me ask you this, Melvin. Who was before Freeway? Who was before Rick Ross?
And as far as selling dope,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a couple guys you named. I'm assuming a couple of them had to been before
nobody
him.
sold dope at a younger age than Michael Jordan. He got a book
Damn.
coming out. Look
Oh
up
shit.
Tootie Reese, The Real Suge, HM, Doc Holliday, Ray Browning, uh, 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 McFadden.
Now all these
Uh,
dudes is these spread across the state of California, or they in like the LA? They in the LA district.
they were selling dope across the country, but they were based in that. These were the West Coast Nicky Barnes.
Okay, I got you. I'm
They
with
were the older men, but my buddy went from wearing khakis and being a Van Ness boy. He was the original Van Ness boy
you.
with
Yeah.
Donald Ray, Swig, Connie, Gerald McMillan, Butchie, all the original Van Ness boys. He was one of them. Roe that rest in peace. Sheila's sister that rest in peace. Uh, Don, Michael Jordan went from khakis to a brand new goddamn Cadillac and slacks in one day.
Jay Shorty. Yeah.
Behind
I'm the
Mary
khaki type
Kimball.
of nigga. I fuck with the khakis too. I'm fucking with this nigga, boy. Dang. We
Yes,
got
sir.
we got no more about this guy. So look, right? I'm
Yes.
wondering, around that time you said 55,000. So when did it drop down though?
When it started getting the way it started cutting it up and they blowing it up and they starting the double ups and all that and they
Right.
started making it and it started being over demand and it started getting diluted and it started dropping and dropping to where you could at one time get it for 14.5,
Whoa.
17.5.
What year
Got it.
is this, Melvin?
We talking I was getting dope in 1980s and I ain't no dope dealer.
Yeah, you just was,
I just
it's
know,
round the
yeah.
way.
So I'm not getting it. I know the prices after I take it because I'm selling it wholesale. Come,
Say,
it's a fire sale. Yeah,
yeah.
because I'm hitting you for 40 keys or better.
Oh,
We ain't talking about no one or two keys. When you
oh,
read my book, you'll see where they took $250,000 from me, and my mama say she mad because they didn't give Melvin his money back.
shit. You
Yeah,
ain't go
I
to jail?
just
You
can't.
went to jail when they took the money, or they let you go and they just
Yeah,
took the money?
they had been following me. OSS. They got a task force for jackers that were letting you jack and then kill you when you come out. And they had,
Yeah, that's fair game. I mean, you
yeah,
breaking law. Fuck it.
yeah. But Reggie Wright will tell you about them. They had an
Oh,
OSS LA crash unit. Now Reggie Wright know because he know that
yeah.
legally it was a LA sheriff, but they were parole agents and bounty hunters that would follow jackers. They'll put
Yeah, they was
uh,
playing cops and robbers. It's fair
yeah,
game. Yeah,
but
fuck it.
they'll let you do the robbery and then kill you when you come out. They had
Yeah,
killed like 10 of my friends and they disbanded them
right.
after that.
So,
So, yeah, we was doing a lot of shit, man.
so
Yeah,
look,
actually,
let
it
me
wasn't
ask you
OSS.
this.
That was the
Who's it?
LAPD Daryl Gates unit. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they
yeah,
started it.
OSS is the sheriff, but it was the LAPD. He had a special unit Daryl Gates used to have where they would just follow bank robbers and jackers around, and they would literally execute them. Yeah.
Yeah, they had created it behind us. We had a saying for drug dealers, and that saying was death to the high roller. That's what we said in the 80s. Death to the high rollers.
Oh yeah.
We wasn't drug dealers, but we
Uh,
never took nothing from no blacks.
oh, I
I
like that. I
tell
like
you,
that code. So y'all
no,
y'all had y'all was
never took
strategic,
nothing from no blacks. That was never. That's how I got to be around all of them.
right? So,
All of them. From Bruce that rest in peace, Harry O, all of them. I got to be around them because they knew they not gonna be. We're planners, not plotters. I'm a planner. I'm not a plotter.
mm.
I'm not gonna never plot against my people.
Now tell us
I,
the difference.
I
Tell us the difference.
A plotter is somebody that would say something like, say we go here to lick, and it ain't but you and him splitting this shit up. And he thinking in his mind, hey, don't nobody know I'm here. If I kill him, I can have all this. That's a plotter. I'm a planner where I'm going to sit back and plan something and think it all the way out. In other words, I'm going to work with you. I'm not plotting against you. That's a big difference. Big difference when you're around a plotter. You got to watch what he plots for. A planner don't plan with you. So that's the difference. I'm trustworthy. One time, a dude, I knocked on his door and he ran out the shower. And I guess he threw his money trying to hide it from me and got in the shower. And while I'm sitting on the couch, I see a couple of bills. He's a drug dealer. And I pulled it out and it had about $120,000 in it. I picked it up, went to the shower, and I handed it to him. Those type of things make it where you can come borrow or ask. Like when I was out there and didn't have nowhere to go, you don't think I could have called Michael Conception? I called Joey Badass for 10,000, but I didn't use it for me. The kids at the daycare center at St. Andrews Park had got shot up, and I put up some cameras to keep them safe rather than buy me a place to stay.
That's some gangster shit. I mean,
It's
because you knew
real.
you could generate money when you needed to, right?
I'm gonna go take it if I want to.
Say less. I already know what time it is. So look, when you was outside moving around, right, and you would run into different situations, what made you decide when you was gonna make your moves? Like what type of motive gave you? You know, what type of motive was you on when you before you made your move?
When it come to knocking down a door where two
Yeah.
men enter and one man leave, all I thought about was a girl I had just born. And right before I go in there, I say either my baby finna get what she want or she finna come to my funeral. I always been a suspect. I haven't been a victim yet.
Mm,
I did it when I was robbing as a young kid. Most people think it was, I gave everybody at the age of 17 a ring and a watch to give their mama for Christmas that was 8 tray gangsters. Every member got a ring and a watch from me. By the time I was 19, Christmas came around, I had robbed a fur coat store place. Every one of their mamas got something
mm,
from me. That's how I got down.
right.
I've always, always, since 14, it's been ice cream trucks to armored trucks with me.
Yeah,
I
shorty.
promise you.
Yeah. So look, right. So in your neighborhood when you was growing up, the OGs was hitting banks and stuff like that.
There wasn't no such thing as an OG. OG stood, they twisted that shit so you'd think they was there at the beginning. OG don't mean original gangster. It's
Uh-oh.
the original Crip. That's why I don't like to be called an OG. Ask
Mm.
anyone. We OGs, original Crips.
Oh, so
No
okay.
original
I
gangster.
get it.
Those two things are not the same.
Yeah. Oh, so you just taught us all something. So these niggas walking around, they not even OG. They gotta take that off of their shit.
That's original gangster. They can leave it on. Right now, I got a slogan where OG stand for opportunity giver. How about that? And we
Oh, I
change
like that. All right, say less.
we
We're gonna leave
change
it in the
that
title.
universally. And why don't we
Opportunity
make
giving
OG
Crip.
stand if you got on one of Melvin t-shirts, that means you're non-active, non-affiliated. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, sure.
I'm in a city where you can't walk 4 blocks in any direction. I ain't out here trying to hurt nobody. I don't pay my due. I'm on my last leg. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Don't make me push you in there before me.
Uh, oh, you
Don't play
dropping
with
all types of jokes.
Drive.
me.
Real.
Right. So look, when you well, let me ask you this. What was the first gangster rap you remember hearing, bro?
Gangster rap
Yeah, like
or
when the
rap.
one that was really talking some shit, some tough Tony shit on the wax.
It has to be NWA.
That's the first.
Well, I don't even can't even think back that far because I didn't give a damn about that music.
All right.
The
I'm with you.
music,
I'm with
you
you. So
got to
by the time
remember
it got commercialized,
the music they singing, I'm living. I ain't never
mm-hmm.
watched a gang movie in my life.
You ain't
Not
seen
how
Colors?
I ain't seen Colors, period, but I know.
You would be
The
offended watching
last
some shit
movie
like
I
that.
seen was Superfly, the original.
Right, right.
I
No.
don't
I
go watch
respect that.
no Menace to Society.
Yo, that's crazy you say that, Melvin, because I don't like watching certain shit too, because I feel like they overdoing it. I don't need to see that shit. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm living the shit they read. I live and breathe.
All right. All right. So once you became an activist, right? What did you see as being one of your main goals? What did you want to attack? Like, what area of activism did you feel like was, most needed?
Most needed at that time. It depends on the S. I've been in this so long, but at the beginning, my number one thing was the California three strikes law, because it was freshly new. I was the first one ever to get out on a reversal in the history of California. I'm a first on that, and I was a member of the original Facts Families to Amend the California three strikes law. I was a member of CATS, California's to Amend strikes law. I'm on numerous boards now that I look over and help facilitate and run programs, mentorship, or whatever. So that's about when that first started, about 1998. And my main passion was the criminal justice system and restorative justice, but I also deal in redefining our community was my second thing. They run neck and neck and bringing awareness to situations that would otherwise wouldn't get the publicity that other cases wouldn't. I speak for those that get killed by the police and Black Lives Matter won't do nothing. I speak for those that get killed by senseless gun violence. In fact, we got a movie and y'all get prepared for it called The World Epidemic, Senseless Gun Violence with Terry Carter. We got Freeway Rick, we got Spice One, we got Ice T, we got Trey D, we got King Tut Hut from Above the Law. Who else was that? We got a philanthropy, a lot of people. Sergeant Dorsey from LAPD that you see on CNN as a whole. We Barefoot Pookie Babalu, the only one that's damn near ever been a Crip and a Blood at one time or another. That's a rare experience and something to think about also. So uh, that's how that go on that.
Right. Now I could dig that. Now, all right. You said you basically stopped gangbanging when you were 17. You said.
At about 17, if it went that long, because when you ask people from our era, well, what you know about Melvin, they gonna say when he was gang banging or when he just went to strictly jacking. You got two eras with me. Gang banging era, where they know that's Melvin Farmer, and then after that, where that's Melvin Farmer, the jacker or getting his money. Hmm.
Now I see you done did a lot of interviews on the internet. Which one of the platforms you think gave you the best interview?
I ain't never looked at an interview I did twice in my life.
Oh man, that's respectable.
I
You
ain't
been
never looked at an interview I did, period. I don't go back because I don't
right,
even know what I don't say it because I don't know what I'm going to say. It depends on the mood.
Melvin. I
Michael
say the
Pacheco,
same shit, Melvin. I
yeah.
ain't even gonna lie, man.
I
Uh,
don't look at my video. I never look at none of that, what I do. I go on to the next day and moving on forward. So I
so
don't know. I ain't looked at no videos, not one.
right, that's respectable. I ain't gonna lie. You living in the moment. You doing what you doing. You ain't really tripping about what it look like. You know what you doing.
Mm-mm.
Now that you put out a book, you done been on different platforms. You know, people getting used to seeing you. When you go out in public, do people recognize you?
Yeah, I just was in Texas a week and everybody in Texas took pictures, walk up around me and taking pictures. And yeah, I get recognized, but it's nothing new. I've been being recognized. And so for
Right,
me, since 1998, people just don't know it because of the chitlin circuit is what I call it. The bingo long chitlin circuit now. They might as well be a circus. It's no substance to what's going on and it overshadows the real work. And they really need to talk about the misuse of the internet. You really need to address that. That really need to be addressed. A lot of people are losing their lives. People are sitting up here slandering people just for the money or for a dime. That ain't cool. We the only ones that's doing this, man. We got to do better than this. We must do better.
Well, see, look, right. I got some man in here. I got this boy Seti in here, man. Seti going. I know he talked that talk.
Hey, what up, City Natch?
Skull OG, what's going on with you?
Hey, man, how you feeling? You and the family, man. I was thinking about you today, man, on everything. We was talking about your part of town. How you doing, homie?
Man, I'm blessed, black, and highly favored. How you feeling?
Oh, man, one day chicken, next day feathers.
Listen, I'm glad you connected over here and everything with Clubhouse and EBAN, aka posted and everything like that. It's a solid dude and everything. So I'm glad you connected. Cause the youth gotta hear what you gotta say because honestly, you're an original. We don't, we don't get too many of those. And then they act like they don't know where to look. So What would you what would you tell the youngins that they owe the streets right now for the ones that claim that they banging?
What would I say?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I would say, man, one of the worst mistakes I had. Now, I don't know about this era of parenting was in my era was not listening to my mother. That was the worst mistake I made. Your mother ain't gonna tell you wrong. The only thing stronger than a man's pride is a mother's love. I promise you. A man will swallow every pill to stay alive, but he won't swallow his pride. So what I say to these youth today is you need to sit. If the OG ain't abusing their authorities and trying to make you do things and they don't. But at the end of the day, if you listen to me, you don't have to go and try to go down a path and a road that you don't know what's going to be on the end of it. My past could be your future, and that's not going to be good. A lot of this was done where my friends are in the graveyard or the penitentiary yard. But I would tell these youth, it's your time to shine. It's your time to make history. I'm out the game. I'm cool. I don't care one way or the other. I don't did it and what it is. But for you guys that have youngsters that have a future, try to become taxpayers as opposed to a tax burden, man. It wasn't worth it. You'll end up where you're too old to work and too young for Social Security, young man. I promise you. Listen to a motherfucker that got his best interest. It's a lot more. You don't know. A lot of y'all are strangers to each other. You don't know. You might be kin to each other. You might be friends with each other. But you guys don't give each other a chance to communicate. So at the end of the day, I just wish these youths would, because it's their thing. We can't expect them to trade their guns in for no concert ticket. We have to provide a way as older guys, male and female, to where we try to talk some sense into these young men, but not just talk it, show it, talk the talk. You can't be out here trying to mentor somebody and you're not living by that example. I made an extraordinary turnaround. I've been out 7 years now. I did a little violation where I got sent back to Atlanta and Gwinnett County for 60, 90 days a couple months ago on some bullshit in Mexico. But other than that, I've been
Damn.
running straight and narrow. Yeah, I just got out from down there where they cracked me
This
in one.
this shit has to Mexico, yeah.
Yeah, I got caught coming back where they don't, when I announced that I was running for city council, because I was going to run for city council, and they put a warrant out on me. And then I got shipped to San Diego, to Salt Lake City, and then extradited to Atlanta. And that made it to where now they don't kick me out to where I'm on the interstate compact and I can't even run for city council because I'm not a resident of LA no more. I'm a resident of Georgia. I'm just here because I'm on parole and my family here. So
All right.
every time I get in trouble, I got to come back to Atlanta. I don't stay here. I come to Atlanta. And I just got out to prison on a violation. I went in there around April and got did a 60-day dry out or whatever.
Oh man, you gotta stay away from them people, man. You don't need to be going in and
Man,
out that joint.
I ain't did nothing then. I promise you. I got repelled. I've been social distancing before the
Dang.
epidemic.
Here we all, yo, it's a certain pack of us that say that, Melvin. And I ain't gonna lie, yo, it's a special group of niggas that been saying that.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
straight
Yeah,
up.
straight up.
So, what you like doing? What you like doing? Like in your spare time, like what you be doing when you just out and about?
I don't have no spare time. See,
Oh
I'm here with
shit.
a show called Hidden Corners, the day in the life of Melvin Farmer. Like
Mm-hmm.
today, I woke up this morning, talked to Charita, Suge's ex-wife, about going on a show. Then I called Joey Badass about an artist where Puff Daddy fit start a R&B, and B, and I'm talking to Joey and them about an artist that I think Puffy might like. Then I'm talking to Cam Capone. Then I had to talk to Reggie Wright. Then I talked to you. Then I got Boss Talk doing something there. It's never a day that I'm not doing nothing. Usually I film it. I just been slow lately because they took all my pages. And that's another thing. Most people think I just opened this Facebook, Instagram. The police shut down all my hot ones, so I'm just starting to back up. So
Oh,
that's what I
okay.
usually do. Is I sit and I work off the phone, but also I'm working with a program called SBB, Strengthening the Black Family, where I'm on the board. I'm going to be a facilitator as well as a mentor. That's a program called Effective Black Parenting, ran by four deacons, women that picked me to help facilitate that. In fact, we need four more family participants. It's a 6 to 8 week course, which I'm going to start on around February the 3rd. Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 9, faith based. We run curriculars, all type of stuff to help the family structure get back. Whether you have kids that are wards of the court or freelancing, I'm also on the board of the Youth Mixed Martial Arts. That's a youth mixed martial arts Pancrean United States team that won the title over in Italy. But me, Marvin, and I told Marvin and a guy out of Florida named Ruben Soldado. We're credible messengers, and we're on that board to look for pedophiles because these are juveniles. All the fighters are from the age of 6 to 18, but you have a lot of adult trainers and handlers, and we're the first ones that ever been allowed to even participate in this program that has a record because it's sponsored by the Army and the FBI and everything else. And they picked us specifically to vet the people that are around these kids. And so it's our job to look and see if anybody that's around them are a danger. So I work with that. I work with the mayor of Washington, D.C., up under the Credible Messenger Program, Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services, up under Clinton Lacey. I work with the Mayor Gunther in Columbus, Ohio, uh, uh, with Sean Stevenson, Mr. Stop the Violence from the Philadelphia Black Philly Mob. I'm writing books. Right now, I'm in the talks with some people about a movie rights that's going on. So it's things like that that I'm doing. It's a whole lot of stuff where we got stuff on the table that could be prosperous for me, both financially and rewarding physically, the way I give back. Mhm.
Hey
That's
man,
tight.
can I ask a question? I live in Washington D.C. and I'm a violence interrupter. And to hear you say that you work with my mayor and it's hard for violence interrupters in the city to work with her. Can you give me any advice that a good connection as far as like how did you all connect to make you feel comfortable, with working with her?
Well, I got connected through King Tone of the Latin Kings and Sean Stevenson because those are uh, a guy named Lacey, Clinton Lacey, out of New York, was appointed by uh, 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 Trump from that. So they're based in Washington D.C. In fact, you can get the number from my man and
No,
call
no,
me
no. I
later.
didn't want the number. No, I just wanted to, to just see because the work you do is awesome, and you feel it for you to vouch for her, you feel comfortable. So it's maybe something that we're not seeing in her, that you see in her. If you know how people
Oh,
see
well,
something that
yeah,
you don't.
with Dorel, she gives us an opportunity because this is the light course. And I don't know, I stayed in Washington, D.C., by the way, off of East Capitol and Bennett in 99, 2000, 2001. I had a show down there that I co
Okay.
hosted with the Bo Better Man Blues show down there. And so I know the Washington, D.C. area very well. And I haven't met the lady personally, but I can't say how y'all think of her, look of her, but I know she provided me an opportunity to get in the game along with Clinton Lacey, and I come down there and speak in the juvenile because if I'm not mistaken, don't they ship the juveniles out when it's time for them to do time?
Yeah, so it all depends, like the charge. So basically, when you say credible messaging, I see why you feel comfortable because I work with the credible messaging also, and they basically only work with the mayor because we basically need the funding. So it all makes sense now.
Yeah, that's who I work with. In fact, we come down there to help train those that's from the West Coast because I was the first one west of the Mississippi. Then I brought Ayatollah Marvin. Then you had Ronald Washington them in the San Diego area. Then you had the other boys in the uh, they up in Seattle, and right now they got a $123 million grant to start credible messengers here. But they're basing it like how they work it in the New York area where they want to go into the juvenile justice system out here. So it's a different ball game. So ironically, they ain't even called, and I'm the only credible messenger, me and Marvin, in this state, and they ain't came and talked to us yet. So there's a lot of politics going on with this stuff out here. It's so corrupt. But yeah, so that's how that went with that. And I'm glad to meet you too, fellow credible messenger.
Thank you. I'm glad to meet you. Also, you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Who else had questions for him? Silence.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll do it. Hey, OG. So, what's one of the highest honors that you've gotten from a city outside of yours?
Oh, I've been flown in honors or to speak. Columbus, Ohio. These are the places where they paid me government officials, mayors in the last, just say this year. Columbus, Ohio, which is very important because if you don't win Ohio, you don't become president of the United States. That's been the last 100 years straight. New York, Washington, D.C., all the East Coast, Chicago. When I go to Chicago, I'm with Fred Hampton. When I go to New York, I might be with, no, in D.C., I might be with King Tone. If I go to New York, I might be with Joey Badass, Fabio Foreign, Texas, uh, California. I got a lot of awards of recognition. I don't want all the numerous awards in California, but as far as speaking, I speaks all over the United States. And I don't get awards, but I speak at these places, so that's an honor to me. That's like receiving an award for where I come from. But I enjoy talking to youth because a lot of times they have a tendency to believe us because they know we live the life that they're living also, and we're right there with them. We're more credible, and that's why we're called credible messengers because we lived exactly the life, and a lot of times we understand it much more better than a person that has no vested interest one way or the other. So at the end of the day, other than California, everywhere I've been, and even before I've been there, I don't been there getting money anyway, illegally. So now it's good to go back where I'm coming as a taxpayer once again, as opposed to being a tax burden. So I enjoy all the states that I go to, not one, no one in particular. They all give me self gratification, all the same.
And what the term OG mean to you now, opposed to what it used to mean?
Opportunity giver.
And
That's
how'd
what
that come about?
Oh, I just was dealing around. I like to play with words and just think of stuff cause I'm an introvert. I like usually to be alone as opposed, I think better alone as opposed to coming out in the public because usually whenever you hear something out my mouth, it's going to be I or me because I don't interact that often unless I come out to do a show or something because my language is going to be I or me. It'll never be we unless we do something together. It's always gonna be, oh, Melvin, well, what you do today? Oh, I talked to Reggie, right? Oh, I talked to the homie about this show. Oh, I had to talk to this. It's always gonna be I unless we do something. And it's a hard way to talk to me, and people get it. Oh, Melvin always I, but I'm a loner. I can sit in a bathroom and watch the Waltons all day. That's four walls and won't cry pig. I don't need no TV, no social media. I come up when it was telephone or telenegro.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, I
hmm
want to ask you a question, brother. This is Firewater. I just want to salute you. Really appreciate you coming through, dropping all this wisdom on us. I got a two-part question for you. The first part, because we see things like, we hear about the history of Black Wall Street, and every city has a Martin Luther King, and we see all these boarded up businesses that appear to be thriving at one time. So I just want to ask you, in your memory, what do you perceive as the so-called black business? How was it? Because I know you were obviously dealing with the elites. So how did you see black business then? And if there's a difference, that you see now, and what do you think could be done if something needs to be changed to make it more prosperous?
well, when I was growing up, they didn't have a lot of black businesses. They didn't have the chance and the opportunity. You got to remember they were segregated. You still had racial tension when I was growing up, so a lot of it wasn't prosperous. But now, because of social media and so many outlets and ways to make money, we have to have economical empowerment within our communities. But what happens a lot of times is gentrification sets us back because a lot of people don't know what gentrification is. And I didn't know. I witnessed it. And then I realized what happens. Like, for instance, when they build a stadium, that's a clear sign of gentrification coming because they're going to clear out the undesirables. When they built the Forum, they moved the hookers and the drug dealers off Century. That's how you got the whole stroll and Freeway Rick and them started building hotels on Figueroa. Then when they built the Staples Center, the next group of undesirables were the homeless up in that area. They started putting them in tent camp city, Ted Hayes, which was talked at the Senate, and they started locking them up. But I think in these inner cities, until we're allowed to walk freely in any direction, to where you can go and patronize each other and keep our money surrounded and circulating amongst ourselves as other races do. They don't come. I don't see no Mexicans coming to buy no barbecue, none whatsoever. No chitlins, none of that. They keep their money at that taco stand. But we as blacks, as consumers, are quick to go buy another white man's product. And I think that's where we need to be more productive. And when these athletes and all these guys, they don't come back and invest in the community. They'll come back on a holiday or something. I ain't seen LeBron James on the West Side yet. I ain't heard him say nothing about Black Lives Matter yet, but he ain't helping us. Kobe Bryant flew over our city to go and end up getting in a plane crash in Calabasas. They neglect us. But it also starts with these local elected officials that been here from chokeholds to where now, from water hoses to chokeholds. And we still ain't have no changes. So why are we still running these same people over and over, then expecting a different result? You have to be more innovative and updated with today's times to make a change. And too many people have platforms that have no vested interest and can make no difference no more than the man in the moon. We have to start bringing it and bringing it close to home to where we have to start addressing the juvenile justice system, the unified school district, and parks and recreation. Those are the breeding grounds for gang activity because these youths are congregated there, whether they're on the streets, and then they'll start getting complacent and looking at that as that's the way of life, and that life there take the place of their parents' love. They get the love from the streets that they might not be getting at home. So at the end of the day, like Nipsey Hussle said, we need economical empowerment. We need to invest in ourselves. In fact, your best investment is yourself. You can't love nobody else without loving yourself. I hear dudes all on the internet, all these shot jocks and all this hollering out, I don't care about living. I'm ready to go to hell. Now, why in the hell would somebody that want to follow somebody that don't care about himself and he talking about he leading you to the promised land? Y'all better wake up, man, and smell the roses and quit following this fake ass shit. This ain't true to the game. This shit is some bullshit going on out here, man. People is out here trying to help people, and it's creating division, state on state. I did this. It's just too much, man. So I just fall back. I fall back about it. I got other things to do. My mission is much more bigger than trying to troll on this internet. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting caught up in it.
Y'all heard it here first. It's early birds and all nighters. EBAN Films. We on YouTube live right now. We got Melvin Farmer in here. His post is speaking. I'm the mod, the main mod. You follow me. I'm in the top left hand corner. We got the other mods on the stage. Plus Melvin, you gonna follow him. Help us get his followers up. Y'all already know what it is. We got a couple other people on the stage right now. We're gonna let them ask Melvin some questions real quick. Now we're gonna let somebody else. Who going next?
I'll go post it. This is Amadi. I don't have a question. I just want to say, like, I commend the elder, the OG, um, for turning his life around and really giving back to the community. Like, when I hear the brother talk, man, like, I hear his story. I done watched a hell of a lot of videos and interviews on him, and I don't see how any youth really could not be captivated by his voice and how he talked. You know, when he talked, you can hear the sincerity in him. You can hear that he stood on all principles, regardless if he was in the streets or even when he turned his life around, man. And I think we need more people like him to be on these platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, telling a story, but also showing the kids that, listen, this is what I done been through, but I done turn my life around. Not nobody that's his age still really kind of like shining a light on the negative shit, but actually shining a light on the positivity and how you can actually turn your life around. Like, I done been in the streets before, but my life ain't nothing compared to what this man had been through. And I know how hard
Thanks.
it was for me to turn my shit around. So if he was able to do it, damn it, anybody can do it, man. You know what I mean? You just got to be consistent and you got to really want to change, man. So I commend you, brother, and keep doing what you're doing. And anything you doing in Ohio next time you come to Columbus, I'm going to make sure if I know about it, I'm going to try to be there to support you, man.
Oh man, thanks for those kind man words. That mean more to me than anything, man. It don't take money to make me happy. Just that I know that I'm doing something to give back. I want to give back. And like I say, I'm not proud at all of the life I live. I shame my family, uh, shame myself, but more importantly, I still always go back to the hurt I see in my mother's eyes. That's not. And most of the guys that I grew up with, and I asked them, we'd sit around, we'd be chopping it up, and these dudes built to do time. And I asked them, man, we fucked up, didn't we? And every one of them said, yeah. And I said, what you hate the most about what you did? And all of us always say, what we did to our mother. Because a lot of times, we didn't feel the pain of a sister dying, an uncle dying, an aunt, because we were in jail. So we never had to go to see where everybody that's close to you. But now that a lot of my friends are staying out, their mothers dying, their fathers, or whatever, and they say, Melvin, it hit home different when we out here, man. It hurts. And I say, I know it do, man. So yeah, it's real sad. It's real sad. Real sad. It's even more sadder that they can see what we've been through and still dumb enough to play Russian roulette with life. You ain't gonna win. And you ain't gonna win. But I understand it when you got other opposing organizations attacking you, even if you want to pull back. And in fact, even if we did pull back and unite, what about the other races that kill us on sight because of the color of our skin? It wouldn't just end because we as blacks come together. Because here in Los Angeles, California, Southern California, from Bakersfield down to Mexico, we don't function with Latinos. They had a green light on to kill any black in this city. They just took that off after the LA gangs unite when Lil Doc and them did they treaty with the Mexican mafias or whatever. So the terrain out here in California, you got to put at a whole nother level as opposed to most other states. Not because they doing it any different, it's because they've been doing it longer. So now you got gangs in states that been there 30 years or whatever. I know exactly what phase they're going through because I know what phase we was going through. Like right now, the first 30 years, all of them that was banging against each other, they knew each other. They knew their mamas, their daddies. But 20 years from now, just like in LA, nobody's going to know each other because of the distance that's been put through over the years. Like right now in other states, they'll say, well, man, I don't want to be fighting a 60 because he is 60 and I'm from A Tray. I know his mama. But out here, that doesn't exist in the state of California because the longevity in which it has been going to where nobody knows each other. And I always tell people, it's easy to kill a stranger.
Right.
So who we got on the stage? Who we got new on the stage? I want to ask a question. Anybody that's on the stage
Yes,
didn't get to ask a question yet? Who that?
yes.
Yo, make sure y'all following the house, following the club. It's Greenhouse. We shooting this now. Come on, ask your question though. We free in here. Get busy.
Yes, Mr. Melvin, sir. With all due respect, LeBron James does do a lot for his community, and he is very much involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. I think you were talking about Michael Jordan, but as it pertains to Michael Jordan, uh, we've been buying his sneakers for years and things of that nature. And
Sorry, bro. You was too political to not be following me, yo. Fuck all that. Next question, please.
This is Kentucky Melvin. Can I go post it?
Yeah, I'm sure you following me. Respect.
I am. Melvin, I was gonna ask you, I know that you work closely with young people. Is there ever an incident where you were working with one of the youth and it just didn't work out? They wasn't feeling what you were saying? And if so, if that ever happened, how did you respond to that situation?
Never happened. Never, never, never.
Understand.
Good answer. Who
I don't
next?
even have to think about that. Never.
Good answer. Who next? Oh, come on, baby. I know y'all got something. Stats 280. What you got?
You just had to put me on the spot.
I already know you. Come on, you ain't come through here for no reason. Come
Who
on, man.
that?
I ain't playing.
That's
I know
that
what time
stats
it is.
280. That's
Yeah,
stats
what's good? What's
280.
good,
I
Uncle?
know
What's
What's
you ain't
good?
good?
come through
What's
here for no
good,
reason,
man?
man. Come
What's
on, man.
good, new Jack? What's going on?
I know
Man,
what
I had to
time it
come
is.
through and support, man. You know.
Yeah, what's up,
Come on,
man?
man.
What's
I
up,
know what
homie?
time it is, Stats. Stop playing.
Nah,
Yeah.
man, I'm just checking on family. You know, just
How you
checking on
doing,
family.
Stack?
I'm doing good. I was a little ill, a little under the weather, but I'm back good, man.
Oh,
You know,
good,
how
man.
about you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm doing good. I'm feeling a lot better, man. I feel a lot better because I'm fit to start school to be a preacher. I'm fit to go on and do that. And I ain't never opened a Bible before. I ain't read one page of a Bible in my life, not one. When
Wow.
I open the Bible, I be in the hole And I might have some weed or some tobacco snuck to me, but I ain't got no paper. And I open the back of that and look for an empty page on that Bible and cut that paper out. Never open it with nothing to read, but now I'm ready to open that Bible and I'm ready to be a preacher. That's what I want to do, young man. So what's up, Stacks? What you got going on?
Man, I just been, working. One of the homies, Bree D, said send his regards.
Yes,
Said what's
sir.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send mines too, young man. Send mines too. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. I'm still fucking.
Hey, I have a question if you wouldn't mind, brother.
Yeah, what's your
Yes,
name,
sir.
bro? Speak up.
LV Europa, can you hear me clearly?
Oh, you low, bro. Speak up a little bit.
Can you hear me better now?
Damn. Yeah, you good.
Yeah. I would like to ask the brother Marvin, I met Melvin, have like rappers reached out to you when you was in prison to get your stamp of approval?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Cause you ain't gonna nobody gonna ask me that because they know I'm not gonna encourage a kid to get it. I've never been asked. I never told a kid to go do nothing. And they know like out of state they'll say, well, I get a lot of inboxes from kids, AOG, what do you think about this? Oh no. I'm not gonna give you a stamp. I'm not gonna even entertain nothing like that. I don't even really let them call me OG because of the stigma attached with that. So no, I ain't never had no rapper uh ask me. Now they might have said in an indirect way, hey, you want to come backstage or stand with us to where to get that credibility just like that, because that make it kind of like official. But no, I never had no rapper come at me about no seal of approval. That's something that they do now, where if somebody got to give you the stamp who sanction you. No, I don't get into that. Nothing that would tell a kid to come into this game have I ever said, hey man, that's the thing to do, or do it like this. No, no, never would I do that. I never encouraged no kid in my life where I tell them to do. I tell them, Mike, to go get some money, but I ain't gonna never tell them to come in this game where you got to ask me nothing. You got to come in on your own accord, where I have no responsibility for that, none whatsoever. And anybody that would do that, particularly at my age or any age after they 25 or something, you just as big of a problem as anybody else. So no, I've never had that or happen to me, nor would I ever do that. Never.
I appreciate that, bro.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the question.
But
Hey
I'll
Melvin,
tell him to go get some money.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Melvin, this is Reggie Wright. I just wanted you to clarify or not clarify, because I know what the brother was saying when you spoke on LeBron and Kobe. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just if you could just say, because you know we all know in Cleveland what LeBron did. Were you mainly just speaking about L.A., saying that you
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
seen
just
him out
talking
there?
about LA.
Okay, yeah. I just think you might
Yeah,
want to
now to
clarify that.
clarify,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, we never seen him in the city of LA. I haven't. I ain't seen
I
him
just
do nothing in
yeah.
LA.
I just want to throw that out because I think that's what the brother's about to get on you about all the stuff he
Yeah.
did in
Oh, he do
Cleveland.
a lot in a
Yeah,
lot of places,
yeah.
but a lot of places he jump over. A lot of places. And I don't even see why somebody would support Black Lives Matter before they would support all Black Lives Matter. What's the difference in getting killed from a police and out here? Only thing
It's
I'm
nine
worried about the
o'clock.
police doing to me is putting handcuffs on me. I ain't worried about them killing me because I know how to comply then complain usually. And that's another thing these youths need to learn. Once you don't comply, that gives them the opportunity to kill you with impunity. You need to comply, then complain. That gives them the reason why that they can do what they do to you guys. So now I don't mean like that, but I just look at it like they ain't did nothing. I ain't seen them nowhere near 83rd. I ain't seen them no. They might go to Nipsey Hussle or something, and that's for votes. But I don't even see no business, none in Los Angeles on the west side where any entertainer got not one,
I
other than
mean,
Red Nipsey.
We could give Magic. Could you give
Yeah,
Magic a little
Magic.
credit? Yeah.
Hmm? Oh, I give a lot of them credit. Oh, I give Magic a lot of credit. Magic don't been out here, but you tell me when you seen LeBron James in L.A. You tell me, Reggie.
or Ohio, like what he did in Ohio.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
but
he
Well,
it's
he
did.
being
did the school. He
nah.
built
The
the
school
school.
is
He
not
got
his.
I
That
can
is a
imagine he
public
did
school.
something in Ohio.
okay.
That is a
Okay.
public school, and it is not funded by LeBron James. This is factual.
Tribe.
I thought
They
he
just
bought.
used
Didn't he
this.
buy
They used this
bicycles
face
or
card.
computers? I thought he bought computers and gave him transportation and make sure to get accepted in the Cleveland State and stuff. That's just what the media report.
Yeah, that's
But
media. That's
So where is it located?
Hey
I'm not
Melvin.
sure if you asking me. I just heard Ohio, but I'm
No, I
not
was
sure.
asking the brother who said it wasn't in Ohio.
no. I didn't say it wasn't in Ohio. I said that the school he's associated with is funded by public money. So they use his popularity in order to set it forth and get it started, which is okay. That's called intrinsic value, but it ain't. It isn't these big institutions that is funded by him as a give back to the community. These are all tax write off by corporations using LeBron, who's a big attraction. No disrespect. The man definitely pull weight. He's a legend, but don't you gotta be able to thin out what the media is serving you versus what's really happening.
Right. Let me reset the room real quick. It's Early Birds and Real and All Nighters. It's EBAN Films. We on YouTube Live. We got Melvin Farmer in here. And he got a pretty interesting background. We letting people ask him questions right now. We're gonna get back to it. We on YouTube. Tap the like. We got Reggie Wright in here also, so you might want to scroll around the stage and see who we got on the stage. Tap the follow button when you tap on somebody. Amadi, how you get back in the group? What the hell you jump down there? So we're gonna let people ask questions. Who wanna ask something next?
Hey Melvin. You when
Speak
Tookie
up a little
was
bit, Prince.
when Tookie was fighting that, was you in contact with him?
When he was fighting his case,
Yeah.
hello?
Yeah, Melvin.
You say, was I in contact when Tookie was fighting his case?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, 1979. In fact, the same guy that told on Tookie, James Garrett, that's how when I was with Raymond watching a day or two, he told on me about a jewelry store robbery a couple months. So yeah, I was in contact with Tookie, but at the time we didn't know each other. We had the same guy that had snitched on us. So when Tookie got arrested, in fact, he got arrested February '79. I seen Tookie and Blackie, which would later be his co-defendant, Alfred Cowens. They were in the backyard over who would eventually be the one that snitched on him, Yard. And Tookie asked me, yeah, you out, homie? Skull? I said, yeah. And I already had robbed 3 jewelry stores in 2 weeks in the halfway house. So I had been over there because my son was over there. So I tell Tookie, man, I don't know if it's cool to be over here, man. We didn't have no snitches. I never had seen a snitch. We didn't even have no word for snitching. We called it telling. And
Right.
I say, man, I think this dude is telling Took. I say, I don't think you ought to be over here. He was had his pants, his overalls halfway down. Blackie had on a Pendleton jacket, and Took had a curl bar and either a cigarette, it probably was a Sherman out of his mouth because he don't smoke cigarettes, but he had like some PCP. In fact, I knew it was. And then when we went to jail, we started going to court a little bit, and then I went to prison, came back. He still was in there. Now I'm going to Santa Monica court or somewhere out there with Kyle and Lyle Menendez. I think that was them that were in court in high power, and I was sending notes. I think it was Kyle and Lyle Menendez at that time who I was sending the notes to Santa Monica court. So I got to talk to Tookie quite a bit. Uh, while he was in the county jail. Now, when he was going through his last phases of appeal, in fact, his last 72 hours, I had called Barbara Becknell. I was in Avenal State Prison, and I said I had some information that might could get him to hold the execution off. So they sent all the Tookie lawyers down on a Sunday, and they shut the prison down. And the whole yard knew that Melvin's going to try to put in an affidavit to save Tookie life. At that time, I had a gate pass where I could go out because I was on a minimum security yard. But after I came back, they took my job, put me on close custody, and then that's Wednesday. They denied my affidavit along with two other white guys that had said that Tookie had stated to them that he did the crimes and stuff. They were recanting their statements. So mine was the critical one, which I still feel they aired, and Tookie should have been a reversal because my evidence was newly discovered, and they should have had spared him until they heard exactly the information that I had. And so that's why I say Tookie was executed illegally. It really was a murder. So I got to talk to him then, and I had to try to do something to save his life, but unfortunately he got executed that Wednesday, and that was the end of that for my man. Rest in peace, too.
Fact.
So,
Bet.
hmm
Oh, I got a question from the chat real quick. We got somebody that said, ask Melvin how James Garrett told the police that Tookie's shotgun was in his house.
well, James Garrett was actually under investigation for 6 murders, uh, 3 in Ojai, 3 in 3 Rivers, 2 in Ojai, and one off of somewhere off of Weston. And the only reason I knew this, and this is how I found out he told on me, because homicide, after he told on me, uh, they had arrested me where we was shooting dice for jury. I had robbed a jewelry store, and we shoot dice for eyes around our necks. When we hit, we'll go shoot dice and everything else. And when I came out to the car, FBI arrested me and everything. And so a couple of days later, I get a call, and it's 2 homicide detectives, and they got a map. And they asked me, they pointed at the map, and they say they had X's on them, and they had 3 Rivers, and they had Ojai, because I didn't know how to pronounce it, and I asked them. I never had heard of it, and they had another X. So they pointed with the pencil, and they say, "You see all these X's?" I say, "Yeah." They say, "Well, we think James Garrett committed these murders." And in my mind, I'm saying, how would they even know? I wouldn't know James Garrett. I'm only shit at that time, 21, going on 22. I just turned 22. James Garrett, damn near 37 to 40. And we never been to jail or been in nothing before. And so then they had James Garrett where they were interrogating him for these murders. That's why it's very critical about knowing the law, because this changed him where he wouldn't have been able to testify against Tookie if they would have knew he was a suspect. But they turned him and said he was a witness when actually they were taking James back to the house to search it. And then when they got to the house, he told them, "Oh, it's Tookie's shotgun up under there." So that's why Tookie always say, "I admit to one murder, but I'm not admitting to the other ones." He always stated his innocence. A man don't have to lie when he's getting ready to die. It's hard to write your obituary before you die. It's very few ways where you know your exact time of death, but the death penalty can be one of them, and you better hope you never can do it. You'll know your time of death 12:01 a.m. But in Tookie case, it went a little longer because they couldn't find his veins or nothing. And that's why they started halting the chemicals, the concoctions, because of Tookie's death. And the cruel and unusual punishment was challenged behind that. And one of the people that make the concoction, I think, withdrew from making it behind Tookie's struggle in dying. Uh, so sad. But anyway, and that's another thing why the death penalty should be abolished or not even used in the United States. Too many times we see the police lie on you, or the evidence doesn't bear that they should have been convicted of this, but we would overlook it. But what do you do when you take a man's life and then come to find out he was innocent? You don't get compensated now. I don't been framed by the police and ain't got a dime. But every time they break my constitutional rights, I got to do the time. But if I was dead or something, then we'll have somebody want to talk about it. But when do we get our redress? When we have complaints. And that's why it's a lot of mistrust with law enforcement. We need better oversight when there are complaints. And that is one of the reasons why people don't complain, because when they complain, nothing gets looked at. It's like grading USDA meat. They just stamp it and keep it going. So that's how James Garrett end up showing in the shotgun. That's just my personal take. Other people might have it, but I know this. I was around James Garrett and the one that introduced Tookie to James Garrett. In fact, when you see Tookie on the Gong Show in that outfit with them two girls, that's Susan and Tona, my son's godparents, and they mother made Tookie that outfit in 1978. I was
Eh,
called. Mhm.
he
So I
been
knew
exclusive.
I knew James Garrett, and in fact, he's the one that's in the movie Hurricane. Allegedly, he's supposed to have the wolf in the movie Hurricane. And James Garrett moved around the corner from me on 84th Place in about 1972 or 73. So a lot of the things that you hear James Garrett was doing when it come to taking money, robbing the big five, taking the guns. That's another thing. When you hear Tookie say the shotgun sales didn't belong to me, to the naked eye, you'll say, well, what that mean? But the shells came out of big five robbery that my crew did. Uh, and that's why Tookie always say, I never had that. And Tookie wasn't there when that robbery happened. But what happened was James Garrett set up a meeting with these people who supposedly had been buyers for the guns, and they were DEAs. They took Tookie to jail. They took Donald Archie to jail. They took the other guys that robbed the Big Five. They robbed two of them, one in Inglewood and the other one was in Hawthorne. The first one James then participated in. The second one they sat in the car. And uh, uh, they sat in the car. And so when they went to go meet to sell the guns, because they didn't pay them the first time they robbed the jewelry store, they paid them. I mean, the Big Five, the first one in Hawthorne, they paid Big James. He paid everybody. The second time he came back, they only gave him a little money, and James said, we got to go meet him. And when everybody that went there and meet him, all of them went to jail. They let Tookie out. They let Donald Archie out because they didn't have nothing to do with it. Big James bailed out. And that's why when I seen him in 79, I say, man, I think he telling, because he still was talking about he was going to court for some shit that happened in 77. So Big James had those bullets from the robbery since 77 where Tookie didn't even know nothing about it. That's just a sidebar to why Tookie always saying the shells wasn't. He didn't want to say that Big James by telling on him, but that's what he meant when he always said the shells wasn't mine, and they wasn't. Big James had them shells from the robbery out the Big Five since 1977. So you can infer who else was using the shotgun.
All right, I got another question from the chat. Hold on, let me find it. What they say. Ask Melvin to speak on Blackie, who told on Tookie for the other killing at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, Blackie is Alfred Cowens. That was Tookie's sidekick. He got an out of state release because he was from Canada. Tony Sims, the third defendant in the Whittier murder, got life without. And then Tookie had the 4 cases. And that's who was standing next to Tookie when I seen him over the fence. That was Blackie. I used to ride with Blackie all the time. He had plucked him from I think he used to be APB. And that's what Baby Jack told me. Big Jack off the east side told me. But Blackie, my relationship with Blackie go where we were sidekicks, where they were older than me, but I ran with them just like I was their age. They probably thought I was, because a lot of them starting to realize, Melvin, you were that young. But my last experience, other than that, with Blackie was at the Watch Stacks, the last one where they turned it out, where Jesse Jackson, uh, Isaac Hayes, that's the one that you see the movie on. We were there that day, and we were sitting in the back end of the tunnel because everybody else, all the west side, all our crew, everybody else was at the Watch Festival on 103rd, and then it would end on a Sunday. Then they had this event here. So me, Tookie, and Blackie was sitting there, and I sitting in the back of them sniffing glue. And that's the last I remember of Blackie. And then
Glue.
by the end of the night, everybody start meeting over there. And that's when they told us to come on the field and clear the field because they was running. And that's when you see us fighting and all that. I remember that night distinctly. hmm So that was the last time I seen Blackie. I remember when he got his black Skylard. We used to run together all the time. Blackie was my boy. But then he turned state evidence and got an out of state release where he went over to Canada. And in fact, Bonnie took his ex-wife, had asked me, Melvin, one day about last year. She asked me, Melvin, what do you think if Blackie would come back to the United States? Or if he was here? And we was at her house, and I said, well, I don't know, Bonnie. I don't know. A lot of people wouldn't know him, but I don't know if they would hold him against it. But I don't know. That was my thing. So that's an interesting question, bro.
Yeah, that come from the chat. The chat seem to know a lot about you. They must have watched all of the interviews.
No, it's probably somebody I grew up with that know them, because I can tell when he mentioned the name James Garrett that he probably somebody I know that grew up, and he know Blackie and them. So that's probably somebody that grew up over in that area, and a
Right.
solid dude that know the history. Because I'm not the only one that know the history of this. They just don't like to come forward, a lot of them. But once I start this show, they'll start coming on, that guys you heard about that otherwise wouldn't be on shows, that can show that they changed also, where it's not just me, and that they trying to do things to give back to the community as well. But a lot of times the work that they do is not known, and that's what I try to do, is bring and uplift others and bring awareness to what they do. I always talk and give shout outs to other people, and usually if I'm on a TV show, they always want me by myself, but usually you'll see somebody with me, because I don't told them to come sit with me, because most of the questions be mundane to me and be repetitive, where they want to talk about what I did in the past but never want to come around to what I'm doing now. So I always have somebody to cut the time of talking about my past, and that'll take away half of the space. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
like talking uh, about me as far as my past, because it could open old wounds to where people had lost their loved ones and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So a lot of times I don't like talking about the past because of the violence really associated with it. And then you'll
Right.
get caught up to where they'll say, well, Melvin, why don't you tell what you did? Or why don't you tell about this? See, a day in the life of me, I might put a picture up and somebody will inbox me and say, Melvin, you know he killed my husband.
Mm.
And I already know that he killed somebody. And when I put this picture up, it's certain guys I can't even put their pictures up
Mm-hmm.
because they gonna inbox me, Melvin, you know he killed my husband, or Melvin, he did that. So it's a lot of times with me, it's guilt by association.
Right. No, I definitely I get that. Damn, that's crazy. Well, what do you got planned for the future, and that we didn't speak on already?
Not too much, man. I always go one day at a time, because
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow never promised, and the only thing about yesterdays are they over. I don't try to look too far down the road and put the cart up. I don't know what my life might be until from day to day. I just don't know. So it's just right now my focus is on uh opening up this podcast to give other people voices to be heard. In fact, that's going to be the show, Voices from the Streets, but it's going to be from a different point of view. I got a Hollow Pigeon Films that I'm working with to where we're trying to produce this little documentary called Williams Family Hustle with Angela McWright and Amari. Uh, we got a clothing line coming out. We're trying to do things to create jobs, employment, education. But one of the most important things that I'm proud of is this SBV program, strengthening the Black village, because it's faith based, but it's Black orientated. And I feel that if some deacons, all four women, three of them white, one of them Black, and they can pick me and my background and overlook that and come to me and ask me and trust me to talk to children and families. That's one of the most thing I'm proud of, because I'll be able to go tell my mother I'm doing this, mom, and I know that'll make her happy. So right now, I can honestly say that I have some type of employment or something to go tell my mother to make my mother proud. That's all that I try to do every day, is to do something where I can make my mother proud, man, every day.
No, that's official. Anybody new on the stage want to get a question in? They ain't get a chance yet. Oh,
Well, this is Reggie. I just wanted to publicly tell Melvin, uh, I appreciate him because everything and how he sounds, he's real authentic with it. Because about a year ago, year and a month ago this time, he and I was in communication, and he was the first one that I had expressed to him that I was feeling under the weather. And he was telling me, it sounds like you got COVID, because I just got over it. And I tell you, this man called and checked on me about every day for about 10 days straight until I went on the ventilator. And, this the guy that's coming across that's talking like this now. I just want to tell y'all that he is really like that. He's really a concerned a dude and a caring dude, and somebody that really has changed his life, that even I'm trying to learn from to be a better person. And because we always get that, hey, y'all in y'all 50s, and why y'all talking on this YouTube stuff? And why y'all doing all of that stuff? And I know I got some growth to do, but I'm trying to be like this man, because he always say, Reggie, it's about the kids, man. Somebody gotta put it out there. And if we just touch one or two kids, then it's worth it. So, Melvin, I just want to publicly, I know I done told you privately, but publicly just thank you for,
Yeah,
being
thank you,
concerned and
Red.
being the man that you are.
Thanks, Reg. I was concerned about you because, I started off calling you and I say, Reg, how's the housing up there? Because I looked at your weight and I know if you catch it, it's going to be a problem. And I just was concerned, and I know how it was. And I never prayed. I never read the Bible. I prayed. Well, I don't know how to pray. I just say something. But, we was friends. We did actually your last show together until you got out and just started again on our podcast. So I'm
Right.
just glad, bro, and I ain't never continued to pray for you. And I just was so happy you pulled through. I kept your name alive. Every now and then I put something to say your prayer, me and my B. So, Reg, I'm proud of you, man. And I'm proud of everybody. I'm not mad at nobody. Charleston White, nobody. That shit's yesterday. I don't want to see no black get hurt. None. None. I have no ill feelings. I have no goals, gains to be famous. I just want to do what I do and be able to walk freely and be able to hold my head proud up at this city of Los Angeles, because a lot of it is getting trashed. And I just think my city is much better than that. In fact, I know we are. So I want to thank you too, Reg, for that compliment, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Hey, this is Dreas. I just wanted to say, Melvin, thank you so much. I grew up in Inglewood, California, used to run the streets of LA. And I thank you so much just for reaching back out to our youth, just to set it straight and get it right. And it's like super appreciated because trust me, I done lost a lot of my homies to these streets. And I'm just proud to see when the older generation is reaching back out and just trying to make a difference. And I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sister. And sorry for the people that lost their life due to senseless gun violence or whatever. And I'm glad you still around to talk about it because your voice needs to be heard. Not just mine. We all need to start telling our stories and putting a human element behind it because a lot of people don't see the human side of it. They just look at the glorifications, but they don't see the hurt and the pain of a mother or a father or a sister and a brother. But I've seen it and it hurts, especially when you've been a part of it, the problem. You have to give back. You owe it to mankind. This is something you died for when you was dying for nothing. This is something to die for. This is something to die for. So I thank you, sister, for that the words of kindness.
Can I ask a question?
Shoot.
Hey, OG Melvin, like, what did you mean about the prison being the new stock market?
Well, you got the privatization of prison where you can buy stock. It's on the stock market. You can buy into a prison. You can uh 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 create wealth within there. It's cheap labor. It's cheap labor. From a toothpick to the spoons, everything made in there where you making only 25, 15 cents an hour. Uh and when you build a prison, if you notice, they're in isolated areas, desolate areas. And when you build a prison, particularly when you got them every 10, 15 miles, this is a state where they ought to just put a gate around it and a tower around the whole state. What happens when you build a prison? You build a city. You build a whole nother town in a desolate area. Give you a good example. Say you got an ice machine in Delano, California, in the middle of nowhere, where you might not sell 10 packs of ice for that whole summer. But because you got a prison and you got 5 yards with 1,000 men on them, and all of them half of them might be on some medication or heat meds where they got to get a bag of ice or 2 bags of ice a day per man. You got a lot of money coming in now. It don't change that little ice machine. So whoever owned that getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing that. They also grow chickens for Tyson. That makes money. They build chairs and tables for the courtroom. That get money. Food, all that. Housing, and then you own the census for that area. So now you got a small area with a big census. Now they getting money. And a lot of these prisons are built on landmines, and that's why you have this disease. What is that called? And it eats you up too. It's an airborne disease, but it's caused because a lot of these prisons are buried over faults where they don't throw traps and stuff away. So that's
Something
what I
fever.
mean
Don't
by
they call it something fever, Melvin?
valley fever.
Valley fever. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
valley fever is what they give you. And if you catch that and you don't catch it in time, you might go out leaving at 220 pounds. And when you come back, you're going to be about 45,
Yeah.
85, 90 pounds, and they're going to take your spleen out.
That's why they're supposed to close down Taft Federal Prison, but they because behind that Valley fever, a lot of people caught it there at
Yeah,
Taft.
yeah. Usually when it's like that, it's somewhere where a landfill or something has been around, and that stuff, particularly down at the lower end of the valley, starting right over the other side of Bakerfield, Avenal, Delano, Corcoran, and all these places up in there. Hmm. So that's what I mean by you can buy it on the stock market. Yes, you have the privatization of prisons where you can buy your own prison at a lower rate and cheaper and stuff, and it's less offensive and it doesn't cost as much to house and stuff. So prison is for profit now, not for rehabilitation or punishment. It's for profit and financial gain, and they make these laws so that they would tough on crime because it garners votes. Every election year is gun control, uh, prison and stuff like this. Every year it's the same policy where it's fear, terrorism, and things of this nature, and they use that to keep locking us up. It's ironic that we're only 12% of the nation population at blacks, but we're at 40 something percent the incarceration rate. That's like for every 100 whites, I mean, every one white, 100 blacks go to jail. The ratio doesn't add up. We're only 12%, but we are almost half the population of incarceration in America. Something's wrong with that picture.
Yeah, if y'all ever want to know about prisons making money, look up what's something called Unicore. It's called Unicore, and guys that in prison be wanting to work for Unicore, a lot of them, because they pay like $130, $140 a month, but they make so much money in Unicore, all privatization and stuff like that in the prisons. It's crazy, but if you read, they make the uniforms, the underwear. They started making the masks. They just look up Unicore, and you'll learn about how much money the prisons is making.
And
Um,
then go ahead, Red.
no, I'm
And
finished.
here, and here go another way they gouge you. They get to set and run the monopoly on the prices of, say, a top ramen where you can get six of them for $1. You might be in a prison where they cost $1.95 a piece. They gouge the prices. They make it where you got to buy from the private vendors at their prices. They took away where the parents can do it. It went from when I first went to prison, it was rehabilitation. You had all type of activities, boxing, football, baseball. You could get your social security. And as the prison started turning for profit, they started taking away everything as far as for the inmates. When I first was going there, most of the prison cells were single cells. Then it went to double cells. Then it went to opening and taking away the gyms. Then it went to triple decking. Then it went to TPs out in the on the yards for the Indians and stuff like that. So now that's why we have those federal orders to release so many inmates because we are flooded. And another thing about the California prison system that they do not do nowhere in the United States, they are segregated. We're the only state that segregate inmates. Blacks stay with blacks in the cells. Whites only cell with whites, and Mexicans only cell with Mexicans. They don't eat together. It's segregation in the California prison system. That's the only state that does it. I stayed in the Gwinnett County Jail 2 years, and I had Mexicans that came in there that couldn't speak English from immigration. I had whites in my cell. I had every color, every race. But California is the only state to where you do not integrate uh, the populations in California state prisons. I don't know about federal prisons, but in state prisons, I've never seen another race in another one's cell because of the racial violence that erupts up in the prison. And here go another way the officers make money. California officers make almost from 80 to 100,000 or something because in California prisons there's a lot of overtime. In fact, they had an article about how they was purging the overtime where you had slick sleeve officers with no stripes making over 120, $30,000 a year behind this. So it's a lot of ways that they're pilfering and profiting off the incarceration of our youths and our family and adult members.
All right, who else got a question? This EBAN Films, Early Birds and All Nighters. Matter of fact, I got something from the chat. Hold on, let me scroll back real quick. Let me see what it said. Ask Melvin, what part of the West Side does he identify with more, or spend more time? In the 80s by Manchester Park, or in the hundreds, south of Century Avenue?
I spent more time growing up on the 80s. That's where I grew at with Horace Mann. But when it came to sowing my oats, I spent as much time in the hundreds, more time up there in the hundreds, sowing my oats up in there because I knew everybody in the 80s. So why would I be gangbanging against who we gonna gangbang with? Unless you go over to Inglewood right across the street. So there's nobody. What I'm gonna do praying on the area that I stay in. I know everybody here. Once again, it's easy to kill a stranger. So when I go up into the hundreds, I used to run over there in the hundreds, but I used to also run just as well with the rolling 60s before they were 60s when I moved on 10th Avenue. I rolled with Dennis Johnson, James Miller, Russell Caper. I rolled with the 30s. I roll with all. I move with all the West Side, but I did just as much in the 80s as I did in the hundreds. I did more damage up in there when I got with them. That was who I ran with. They were the smacks. See, I didn't know. I came from Bread Heart. So when I moved over there, I didn't know nobody. So I didn't have no basic ties like with Horace Mann. I'd be with Cuse, Rusty, Mouse, Tookie, and Barney Jones and all them type of guys. And on the other end, I'd be with O'Neal Brown, Blue Boy, Barefoot Pookie, Hawk, Rainbow, Michael Conception. It was pretty well balanced, man. I floated up and down the west side.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Melvin. With you being an A Trey and beefing with the 60s, how did you maneuver through like that and not have any real big fallouts with the other side?
Because of the fact I was with them before they turned 60s. Don't forget everybody that was a West Side Crip, then they went to the sets. So why would, and then they didn't start fighting till 1980, not 1979, 1980. So a lot of people think the fight started over Big Rick brother Tyrone getting killed. But I got arrested in '79. They wasn't even thinking about that. But '79 was a pivotal year. Raymond Washington got slain. Tookie got arrested and taken for good. And a lot of us were starting to turn 22, which is a critical age when you've been in YA, because at 21 it's over. Now a lot of us, where we was coming home and coming right back, all the core of us started going to prison, and that changed the game. But because I had been a West Side, I knew everybody's family, and when the Crip on Crip really started getting serious, I knew where everybody stayed. I knew where everybody stayed on the west side, all the way, not just the 60s, however they, and so I couldn't go against the guys that I grew up with, where I know they family members, they mothers, and the A trades, which I can say honestly, they knew that I knew them, and they never got involved. Because I never told them not to do nothing or nothing. And the other side knew that Melvin, the older ones, told him, "No, hands off on Melvin. Melvin not in this war here." I've been in all the other ones till that Crip on Crip started, and I couldn't do it, and I backed up out of it. And they say that the older ones, Kev Mack told me the reason why they let him over there. The OGs over there all tell him you can do whatever you want, but Melvin Farmer, don't fuck with him. Same way in the hundreds, same way. So when these guys see me, even though I'm with the older guys, we're friends. But to the younger ones, they standing with the enemy. We ain't standing, we old men now. We out the way. It's you guys shit that's happening. We out here trying to live life. But that comes with this. But at the end of the day, that's what allowed me to go, is because I never been a foul player. I know where a lot of people say, where they could say, hey, Melvin could point our house out like this. And they know that just like when I was growing up getting money, I'm a planner, not a plotter. So they respect me. Like Mumbles out the hundreds. I had left him from Avenal, but his mother was dying of cancer. And I knew what he was going through. He from 111, Mumbles. So he stayed right across the street from Dub C. In fact, they always over there. So I was going over there to see Black Dog and them, and I told Mumbles, I'm gonna come pick you up. Now I go over there to the hundreds, and they see here go a nigga from A Trey going to pick up their homie to get him to his mother, taking a penitentiary chance. So when I come back, they all remember that, and they'll say, "Leave Melvin alone, man." Melvin went and picked. These are the type of things I do. Like one day, Bonnie called me, "Hey, Melvin, Tookie granddaughters don't got shot at, and they say they from here and here. Now, if this shit get out, it's gonna be a problem." But she called me first. And I said, "Well, what kind of car is it, Bonnie?" She this and this, Melvin. I said, "Well, let me run a mate. Let me see." Then I call her back and I say, "Bonnie, that wasn't them that did that." And she'll say simply, "Okay." These are the type of things that you don't hear about when it comes to intervention and prevention in the unpredictable form that go on in the background. There's a lot of things. Like one night I got a call on a Saturday morning or Saturday night from Peak Windbush. Like I say, whoever I say a story, you can call them. I just don't like talking about them. And he called me and say, "Melvin, I thought us and us supposed to be kind of like trying to work it out." But
Who got
hello,
another
you
question?
still there?
Can
Yeah, we
can
here.
I ask a
I was
question?
gonna let
Oh,
somebody else ask a question.
go ahead. You got a question?
Yeah, Melvin, could you give me 3 points in your life where you've had your best life, like from the
Huh?
80s? Can you give me 3 points in your life where you've had your best life, like from the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s? And can we expect any movie deals or like series deals? Because I wouldn't mind watching your story.
Right now, I'm working with some people. Where a lot of people have, like Joey Badass and them offered me 50,000 just to start on a book, and I told him ain't nothing gonna make me write a book until no amount of money till God makes me write one. So I ain't even thought about that, but I talked to a couple of guys yesterday to where we're going into possibly the process of trying to create a storyline or something involving me at the time. So I didn't hear the part about where you said what were my three what?
Like 3 points in your life where you've had your best life, like
Where I had
from
where I had a good time.
yeah, from the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s.
Well, the best fun I had, because you got eras when it come to gang banging and just doing it, and then that would be the 70s because I quit, so that's quite natural. But as far as having the best time right now is, for me, the best time has been the last 7 years. That's the best time I don't have because I don't change my life also. But as far as having money, I've always, every decade since 19 the 70s, there's not been a decade where I ain't hit over $250,000 or some type of merchandise. So every decade has been a hit for me. So I don't have no special decade because I've always either hit or miss. I had the same amount of success. Because one thing about a jacker, they don't care about the money. They're more thrilled in the act of doing it because of the immediate gratification. Once I got the money and we'd do a lick, we might throw that jury up and go do another robbery and get caught and everything gone. So all the decades was good to me, but the best time that I'm having now is right now because I'm going to turn to the Lord. I've been out 7 years, and it look like things are coming up, and I'm fit to get married and all this. So we doing all right.
Much
Yeah.
respect.
I got a question, post if I can ask.
Go and rock.
Yes, sir.
I am a community activist. I've been for 7 years. My question is, sir, thank you. First, thank you for letting me be on the podium. My question is, I'm kind of burnt out. I have, I'm not a big speaker in the community. I'm more of like with action, out in the community about gun violence. My my question is, my brothers is not getting the message about putting the guns down in our community, and it's like keep on saying the same thing about marching and doing visuals and spreading the message about putting guns down, and it's like our brothers is not getting the message. What can you say to another community activist, that's burnt out and want to keep on with this fight? Thank you for letting me speak.
Ah, brother, you got to. This is a job where you got to do your due diligence and just keep on going, because somewhere or another it's gonna touch somebody. It doesn't have to. It's like doing an exercise. One good one is better than 10 bad ones. A lot of times you're gonna have objections and people that want to try to knock you down, and you just got to keep your head up and continue to fight in the struggle. But also, you have to look to your elected local officials to make sure that funding going to these people that are truly deserving of it, and it's not getting topped away. And at the end of the day, I commend you for your services, but don't hold your head down. We always hold our head high, chest stuck out, and it's been times when you feel like giving up, but you can't give up on no child. We can't give up on that easily. We just got to be able to turn them in to where, and then a lot of times you'll ask the kid to drop the gun, but what is he going to drop it for? Certainly not no concert ticket. They have to be able to provide a way to something that would take the place and give the substance that they feel like a person. We have to show that we love these youths and that we care about them. A lot of times we don't have people, especially the adults, they talk down to them and everything else. I never look down on a man. I'm going to always look up to him no matter how small he is. He could be up under me, but I'm going to look up to him. So you just keep your head up, man, and continue to do God's work, and everything going to work out. Don't get discouraged. You can't do everything, but long as you try, nothing beats that, and it'll work its way out. Somebody will get your message. Look at me. If I wouldn't kept fighting and not giving up, I wouldn't be in the position I am. But if I look behind me, may I turn into a pillar of salt if I look backwards. Never. So I commend you for what you're doing, and just do what you can, and somebody appreciate it, young man.
Thank you, sir.
Hey Melvin, speaking on like how you said you kept on fighting, what made you keep on fighting when you got that life sentence, man? And like,
Thank
did you think that you was gonna come home on that?
Yeah, I always kept my faith. I never lost faith. I didn't put faith in man. Man had took my life. I never read the Bible, but I never lost faith in God. I didn't. And I knew that I had a chance legally if they went by the law, where I knew I should have been out. So God didn't close the doors on me. He didn't put the dirt over me. He let me walk. I walked in through that back door, and he let me out that front door. And so a lot of people think the death penalty is a deterrent, but I've never seen a man begging and crying not to die when he been in a California prison. But let me tell you guys, psychologically, ain't nothing worse than waking up every morning knowing you're going to die behind that fence. I promise you. I mean, there's other things, but psychologically, the death penalty isn't a law that's a deterrent from crime or nothing like that. But when you got that life sentence, you don't holler out, old homie. I'm telling you, you're going to holler out, oh God, just give me one more chance. And I've had 2 life sentences, so uh, it's been rough, but I never gave up faith. because I knew I had a chance. And that's what happened. God saved me and gave me another chance, extraordinary chance. So I try to make amends, but I haven't forgot those that I left behind. Mm-mm.
I appreciate that, man.
Hey, Melvin, I got a question. Am I too loud? Hello?
Hello?
Oh, okay. Um, you think it's systematically like put in play for the prisons to be like that in California, where everybody's split up because, like, if let's just say if like two groups of people who was the majority was to get together, like some things wouldn't go the way they seen, and maybe they could see the injustice and get more stuff done, so they keep it like that on purpose.
Now, you talk about the California prisons?
Yeah.
No, that's been ingrained. Uh, that ratio. The California prisons have always been like that. It's not intentional, but they don't do nothing to stop it either. At one time, before it started turning into profit, uh, the prisons were run by the inmates. Transfers. When I first went to prison, it was an incident that made me know that I was in some shit. I had just got there, and the BGF, which I never even heard of and didn't know till after this incident even existed. They had sent a man down, a BGF from San Quentin, where the inmates had made to transfer, strictly for him to come down there and kill a police. And he came there and he hit a police named Ernie that was bringing alcohol in for people, a good cop. He hit the wrong one. But when that happened and he hit Ernie, that was my first time going on lockdown at Soledad Central. And I noticed that when we came out, a lot of the blacks was gone. And a BGF walked up to me and he say, Melvin, you seem like you kind of a sharp cat. You don't need to be coming here. He say, your ass will wear out before that fence will. And that's when I started learning about the BGF, because after that they had a riot where the ABs attacked him for hitting a white officer. And that's when I started learning about the Aryan Brotherhoods, the Mexican Mafia. But that's what I said about a prison gang as opposed to a street gang. We were a street gang. Come out in 71 as far as I did. The Crips on my side. Then you had Raymond them on the east side in 69. But you've always had the militants, Black Panthers and other things, the BGFs and stuff like that way before we even came. You talking about in 1940s, 57s, a lot of these gangs had been spawned in prison. So that's been embedded here in California prisons for decades over decades that I know of. So no, I don't think it was intentional, but I don't think it was where they were trying to stop it either.
So that movie Blood In, Blood Out probably had a lot of truth to it then.
I never seen it.
Okay, okay. All right, thanks, man. Thanks
Mm-hmm.
for the question, for the
Yeah.
answer.
Well, I ain't gonna hold Melvin for too much longer. We done been here for 3 hours for real, for real. I think that's long enough. I don't want to keep him on the app too long. They didn't have enough questions. Melvin, is there anything you want to say before you get out of here, though?
Oh, no more than I want to thank everybody for tuning in and allowing me to express myself and showing support with all this bullshit on here. If you like, I would love it if you would go and support my pages, Instagram. But I do a lot of my work on Facebook because it's more intimate and closer to the community. And stay tuned for the upcoming events. I'll be on Boss Talk Radio segments coming on Cam Capone in the next few days, and just start. I just want to thank everybody for letting me have a time to be on this podcast, and thank you too.
Thank you, bro. We
Thanks, bro.
appreciate you coming through. Please stop in again.
Oh, no problem, man. Please have me back. And
Yeah,
I'm really honored. Thank you so much.
appreciate it. We honored to have you on.
Hey Melvin, before
Appreciate
you go, it's not a question. I just want to say big up. My name is E Double. My name is Eric. They call me E Double. I'm a product of Second Call. I saw that Cam video with Skip.
Yeah, I got you. I
You
put Skip on there.
yeah, I appreciate that. Letting him get his word out. And anybody else out here working in the community, don't stop. Put your heart into it. It's not falling on deaf ears. There is people out there listening, and it's been a change in my life. Appreciate y'all.
All
Hi,
right.
Melvin. I just wanted to say thank you so much. My name is Queen Lady Act. I'm an actress and rapper from Watts. I lived in your neighborhood and all over South Central. I've watched hundreds of interviews about the culture, and honestly, your interview was one of the most touching and inspirational. God bless you. Thank you for being a great influence, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, so anybody else want to say something before we leave? I don't want to cut anybody off.
I just want to say thank you, Melvin, for coming in and just sharing your story. This is Kentucky. I've watched you as you know, elevated over social media, and I think what you're doing is great. So good job on what you're doing, and congratulations on your wedding or your fiance.
Thank you.
All
Yeah, I want
right.
to tap in, and I had just got off of work. I've been at work this whole time listening to the podcast, and yeah, I want to tap in and also appreciate Melvin for coming through and pretty much sharing his knowledge, with the chat, whatnot. And like I said, I've been at work the past 3 hours and been listening. So yeah, I appreciate it, man. And you definitely take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Congratulations on the wedding, Melvin. On the engagement, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
Mr. Farmer.
I would like to say, Melvin, God bless you. We are praying for you, but I would like to say to Urban Films, thank you, sir. Thank you, panel, for letting everybody come and get this message and get this blessing. God bless everyone.
Thank you. That's a fact.
peace and blessings, brother.
Hmm.
Peace.
Thank you, Mr. Melvin. I'm gonna be contacting you. I'm gonna be staying in touch with you.
All right, homie.
Mr. Mogul.
All right, moving. One love. I
All
loved
right,
it,
Sure.
brother.
man. Appreciate y'all anytime, man. It's good to go.
All right,
All
I
right.
appreciate that, man.
Okay. Later.
I won.
One love.
Man, good looking posted, man. That's another great one right there.
I appreciate
Later.
y'all coming through.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was hard, post.
Yeah, bless, posted, bless, bro.
Hey, boom the room.